What's up, guys? Welcome back to the POS podcast. Today we have a special guest. His name is JD. You want to introduce yourself for us?
Of course, of course. Thank you for having me. My name is JD. I am the owner and CEO, the founder of Shoot2win esports organization. I'm an independent streamer, graphic designer. I do a little bit of everything. I just
Yes, sir.
content create. I appreciate you guys for having me on. I'm really excited to be here.
Yes, sir. We're excited for you to be here too. And of course, we have a regular host, me, Josh, and Bree the King over here, or Brian. So, the first question, like you said, you're
Mhm.
the founder of an esports team, Shoot2win. How did you start that? How did you come about doing that? What was your
Well, it's always a
inspirations?
great, it's always a great question. So I've been a gamer since the beginning of time. Honestly, I remember having like my first experience with Duck Hunt. I was born in '92. My aunt had like a Duck Hunt game. And I remember picking up the gun. I always like gun shape. I was a normal boy, us
Yeah,
boys,
of course.
and I was really interested in this weapon. And I started shooting, and I get to shoot, and I'm playing a game, and I was like, okay. And it kind of just spawned from there. And my gaming, I call it an addiction, but I always say addiction is not always bad. You know what I'm
Uh
saying? It's
huh.
a great addiction. It keeps me out of trouble. It keeps me out of the streets of where I grew up at. So it keeps me safe. So my gaming addiction has led to many different phases. And I started seeing like Optic. That was like one of the first early teams that I seen. And I'm like, oh, this esports thing is popping off. And I'm a competitive gamer. So in my area, I looked around and I said, all right, let's see if we could put something together. At that point, it was just quote unquote gaming clans. It wasn't esports organizations.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've had plenty of clans that I started and tried, and none of it really came to fruition. And again, one day I looked at the esports realm and I said, okay, this is something. And not only am I a competitive gamer, I know a few streamers in my area that I could possibly start up some with. So me and my COO currently, Michi Black, that's his nickname, Michi Black. Shout out Michi Black. Me and Meech got together and we were like, we're gonna come together. He's a streamer, I'm a streamer. He competes, I compete. Let's come together and just start something. And it just came. I came up with the S2W, I came up with the Shoot2win, I came up with all these different ideas, and we just kind of threw all these ideas together. And then I have a biological brother. His name is Daniel. He's our other COO. So it's me, the CEO, and two COOs. And my brother Daniel, we all came together, us three, and we were like, all right, let's just lay out a plan. Let's just lay it out, an idea, whatever. We're just gonna wing it. And we went with Shoot2win. We went with S2W. We had a logo mocked up, and we went forward with it. And at first, we were just a 2K team. We were really interested in 2K. We were really heavily invested in 2K. We were like, okay, we'll just go into 2K realm. And next thing you know, we get reached out. We create our Instagram, put the logo up, and we get reached out by somebody in New Jersey, like instantly. And I was like, whoa, like, is it this easy? Like, is this
Yeah,
easy? I can just
yeah.
go and just share content and we can get people to join and believe in this. So then that's where the belief started to come very early on. And some of those people are still around from the very early days 2 years ago. We had no idea what we were doing. I had an idea. I was sort of a business mind, but I had no idea what I was doing. And we hopped into it blindly. And now 2 years later, I tell people we're more than an organization. We're an esports family. And I believe in changing the esports realm. Like I'm really focused on changing the esports realm from super competitive to really being friendly. Because I think a lot of times it could be very toxic.
True.
So I call us the esports family. We're more than an organization. We're more than gaming. We do a lot of different things for the community. We are heavily invested. We love like my main goal with Shoot2win from the very beginning was to have a heavily minority because I come from the minority. I'm 100% Puerto Rican. All my friends are black. Everything I grew up in was inner city, and I see the struggle, and I see the potential, and I see the hope. And my whole entire thing was I want to build a team full of strong minorities so we can actually show people that you can come from nothing and make something. So that's kind of what we build our umbrella under with strong minority holds. Everybody that is beneath me, that are our head honchos, are all minorities. We like to really push that forward and really put us for first for once. So that's kind of where the ideas kind of came from. Just the basic ideas, having a strong minority base, making sure we stay true to our inner city culture because that's where we come from, and I will never turn my back on us. And then making sure that we can change, esports. It's not all about competitive and being toxic. It could be a friendly environment, family friendly,
Yeah.
and still be adult like. There's certain things that I say and do that are adult like, but there is certain things that I will PG and make sure kids can watch because that's also important. So that's kind of our values and where we stem from and our kind of thrown together story. I still got to work it out. I need like a perfect story. There were so many chapters to it. It's just hard to really put it into one paragraph. But that's really where we started from and where I came from. I've always been a gamer since day one. And now I'm here just competing at a high level or trying my best to. It's very difficult out here.
Bro, I love that answer. Like that's honestly the best answers we gotten so far when we ask someone like, what are you? You know, usually it's like a couple like 2 sentences. Like you have a whole
Yeah.
like essay there. You know, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
And that leads
Thank you. I
me
appreciate that.
because I was gonna ask about this later on in the interview because I told you I had some questions written down. But I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
love
ask like how does your childhood? Because I feel like with a lot of people
it.
with their streaming and gaming, like they got into that when they were a child. How does your childhood form you into becoming a gamer, becoming an esports person? How
That
did
is
that
a
influence
very
you?
loaded question. My childhood was very rough, actually. So my mother and father were drug addicts. They were locked up at a very young age. I still am like blank on it because I don't really talk about it too often. Not with my parents. It's a difficult conversation to have at times. Um, but basically, my older brother raised me. He's 11 years older than me. He wound up dropping out of high school. Well, he dropped out kind of later, but he did drop out to take care of me and make sure I was straight. My aunt took care of me a lot. My parents were both locked up. My mom was probably locked up for about 6 months around that time, less than a year, I believe. She wasn't locked up for too long. My father did most of the time. He took the hit. I think he did about 2 years, 3 years. My childhood was absurd. In the moment, I was a happy kid. Honestly, I was. I didn't
Yeah,
deal with any like problems. Like my family did a good job of hiding the situation very well. Even though I remember to this day screaming from my mother saying, "Don't put her into that cop car." Even though I remember that it was so suppressed in my brain as a young kid, I just had fun and watched TV, and I was a 90s baby just hanging out.
yeah,
Gaming again was a way to cope with a lot of the different things that I went through. It was a way to escape reality. It was a way to relate to something bigger than just me at the moment. Um, and it gave me an out because again, as most of us know, it's easy to turn to the streets when you're born there and that's all you know and there's no guidance. I have a 15, 14-year-old brother raising a 2, 3-year-old kid and he doesn't know and he's being a knucklehead at the same time. My
yeah.
brother was in and out of high school doing his thing. He was being a teenager as he should. His responsibility wasn't me. So I would say all of that combined, my childhood, that made me what I am today, and it made me be more strategic because I saw what life can do to me early. I saw the possibility of going down this left road at a very early age compared to going down this right road. And it's easy to fall susceptible to that left road. But again, I think gaming and basketball, huge basketball fan. I got basketball tattooed on me. It is my heartbeat. That was like my very first passion. Again, about my childhood, I was never really a fighter. I was never afraid or nothing. Again, growing up in inner city, you can't. But I was never the fighter. So in order to earn my respect, I had to do something. Basketball it was. It was just basketball. I picked up a basketball. Everybody respected me. I got most of my relationships from the basketball court. So that was my initial dream as a kid was to be a basketball player. And then I realized I'm kind of stocky. I'm big. I don't like to work out too much. I was like, this ain't for me. This is ain't for me. So I gave up on the basketball dream very early. I would love to coach, but the coaching thing has always been a thing in my head. So that's kind of why I went to esports because I can coach esports. I can run my own business. So that's kind of I feel like that's kind of how my childhood shaped me. It showed me I had to grow up very fast, very early, at a very young age. So I already had the mindset of taking care of myself. I already had the mindset of I got to do shit alone. And I think it was a good thing that my parents kind of went through that. Ironically enough, it sucked for them, obviously, but for me, it taught me a lot of life hard lessons early, and that's good and bad. That's good and bad. For me, I take the good. I'm a glass half full type of guy. That's how it goes. Yeah, half full, not half empty. So I always try to be optimistic, not pessimistic. So even though my life was rough, I'm not making no excuses. I'm here trying to make a better path for my children and the rest of my family tree, the rest of my generation. And that's how I look at it. My family tree will always be different because of me. Crazy enough, it's just absurd. Nobody in my immediate family has a business. Nobody in my immediate family has been to college. Like I've already shattered some of those expectations and fucking trailblazed it. You know what I'm saying? So I my childhood, even though it was treacherous, my future and my present, I have changed my name forever. My last name is Diaz. I have changed the Diaz name forever. And even if I don't get past this and be a quote unquote millionaire, I'm successful enough to where I'm like, yo, the Diaz name is in a good space compared to
Yeah.
where it was the prior generation.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that you kind of say, at least towards the end, you were saying that you're kind of glad in a sense, like you're not totally glad with it, but you're kind of glad in the sense that like those things happen, because a lot of people won't admit that. Like they'll say, "Oh, yo, like my childhood was rough, but that made me to the person I was," but they won't say I was glad. Like for me, I didn't have the best childhood, but things have been getting better recently. But like I would say, yo, those situations caused me to grow up, caused me to mature, and like when I was like a teenager, I was in a situation where I was mature than a lot of the adults that were around me. You know, especially like when you're playing like games, like you have these grown men that are like throwing temper tantrums and stuff like that. That's the funniest thing to see. And like you have like some 15-year-old kid just laughing at you. You know, like it's just interesting to see that type of stuff. It does have cons to it though, because there is childhoods that don't have, you know, you don't have an actual childhood. You're a kid, you're 10 years old, 11 years old, you're forced to grow up. You're not allowed to go outside or play games or have friends and stuff like that. You know, it
And see,
forces
I
you
had
to
a
grow
lot of
up.
anger issues growing up, and I think that's another thing that people will overlook is anger issues and different things like that. Like I'm not saying that you were saying this, but just for anybody
Yeah,
listening, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. Like obviously, I had some insecurities growing up. Like those things happen, but I'm at the rightful age of 30. I just hit 30 not too long ago, and let me tell you something. I've always been more mature, kind of how you said, just to piggyback off what you said, not to interrupt, but just to piggyback. You know, I like what you said about being more mature than some adults at times.
yeah,
At times, like you are more mature because of what you have seen and what you have been through at such an early age. You are more mature than, but again, you do grow up with some insecurities. You do grow. I grew up with anger issues, and I had to learn how to bottle that up, not bottle it up, but learn how to cope with it the right way. I would take it out on gaming, you know, a lot. I would smash controllers and all type of stuff. And I would do that stuff privately because I didn't want to talk about it. You know, at 12, 13, 14, as men, we were told you suppress it. And that's something else that I'm very passionate about is about speaking out because men, I think a lot of times suppress everything. And that's not okay. Like we
yeah,
can freely talk about what we want to talk about and our past traumas and be okay with that.
yeah. Honestly, I think like you were saying, you don't want to say bottle it up, but I feel like for a lot of people, at the start, it is bottling it up. I feel like as you grow, like you may become mature when you're a kid, but as you grow up and you actually do become an adult, that's when you learn how to deal with the stuff. That's when you learn you're not having the same outbursts you had when you were like 13 years old. You're not crying. You're not like throwing temper tantrums, or you're not like, you're not just being mean to random people for no reason. Like you actually learn as you go on, and
Right.
that's just because you were forced to grow up at early age. You know what I mean? So I think that is a big part of it.
I agree.
But I wanted to let's move not move topics, but like transition to I wanted to ask, what are your favorite games? Like, what games do you mainly wake up to play? Like, what's your daily
So this
driver?
question is always loaded. So if we're talking daily, I am playing Overwatch every single day.
Okay.
Although I am the founder and CEO, I actively compete. I just love gaming. I don't see myself ever not competing. I don't care unless my business starts making millions of dollars, and I have no time, obviously. But I'm always gonna find time for gaming. I promise you guys that. You can mark that down.
Yeah.
So I am competing in Overwatch, so I spend 95% of my time on that game. As far as like games that I just enjoy throughout life, I have a lot of Kingdom Hearts things. I have a huge tattoo, Kingdom Hearts. I have a tattoo behind my ear, Kingdom Hearts. Probably my favorite series of all time, favorite gaming series of all time. I like God of War, even though I don't own a PlayStation. I haven't played God of War in years. But as far as the series goes, I love it. Call of Duty, of course, Call of Duty. The thing about gaming with me is that I go through phases. And that's why it's always so hard to answer the question. Because tomorrow it might be Assassin's Creed. It just depends what I'm in the mood for. But typically, Overwatch is what I'm typically always going to be playing nowadays. And as far as just overall gaming, Kingdom Hearts is my favorite series and favorite gaming franchise of all time. Those two games for sure.
I feel that. I feel that. I freaking love. I used to watch my cousin, right? Because we used to come up to his house for like Thanksgiving and like various holidays. He would always have I think it was PlayStation 2, I think he had,
Hmm.
playing Kingdom Hearts. It was so fun to watch that. Like, I was like, yo, I really want this game. Like, Mom, give me a PlayStation 2. I want to buy Kingdom Hearts. It
Uh-huh.
always looked so fun to play, you know? It always looked like such a good game, you know?
Well, I love Disney. I'm a big kid again because of my childhood. That's another, opposite look at it. Because of our childhood, my childhood being so rough, I hang on to like I hang on to the things that I had in my childhood a lot more harder than some people would. So I love Disney to this day at 30. I love like you see pops and collectibles. I
Yeah.
love my quote unquote toys because when I was younger, it was hard to keep on to those things because I was too busy being an adult. So now I cherish those things so much more. I watch 90s cartoons all the time. I'm still watching Hey Arnold and stuff. Like I hold on to those things. So Disney was one of my favorite things growing up. And this was the first game. And I was like, wait, this is a serious game with Disney characters. Oh, sign me up. Like
Yes,
I'm
sir.
with this 100%. And then I fell in love with the story, as convoluted as it is and as absurd as it is. And I played it a million times and still have no idea what's happening. It's still a great story somehow. I can't even explain it. It's just one of my favorite games. It's so complex that you just got to kind of enjoy it and hope for the best. Like that's it.
Yeah. And so, you said you're a 90s kid. Brian, you're a 90s kid too, right? I think?
Yeah.
Yeah. When would you, I
Yep.
don't know if you want to say your birthday, but like your birth year.
I won't give a day. I was born in 1990. I'm 2 years older than him.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
92. Yeah.
Okay. So, y'all both are like similar in age. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah. And like
I was
I
old.
see.
I saw it on your tongue. That boy was about to say old.
Oh, he was. He was
He
close.
just
He
didn't.
had to hold it
He just
back.
didn't want to get
man.
throat punched through the screen. That's all. I
Listen,
heard
I
it.
see,
I
I
heard
see
it.
the wrestling
Oh,
belts behind you, and the first thing I thought
yeah.
of was DX. I was like, oh man,
Oh, you
I
know
feel
it.
like, yeah, I
Yeah,
can
you
tell,
know
I
it.
can tell, I got you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to mess with Brian. I feel like he wouldn't know how to fight. You know, he's a hooligan at
Technically,
times.
I was saying. What did you say?
I said he's a hooligan at times. You know,
Absolutely.
but I was gonna say like, bro, even though I was born in 2003, I wasn't
Uh-huh.
not a 90s kid whatsoever, obviously.
Right.
But like my sister was born, I think. Honestly, I'm not sure about the birth year. Don't tell her I said that.
No. Hold on, Josh. How do you
A lot to
not
deal
know
with.
what year she was born?
I think
Yeah,
I
that's
think
his
it was
sister.
98. I think.
I'll just call her later and find out.
Okay. This is what I deal with on a daily basis, bro.
I love it. It's how me and my team interact, so I'm used to it. It's okay. The answer is the answer.
But like my brother and my sister, they're both older than me. I'm the youngest in the family. They will always introduce me to like just older media. Like my favorite show, like top 5 of all time. I don't care what nobody says. Kenan and Kel. I love that show. I love that show. I can watch that
Classic.
show any day. That crap makes me laugh. I love the dynamic between Kenan and Kel. I just love a lot of the 90s stuff and like older stuff, you know?
Great writing. Great
Yes.
writing.
100%. 100%.
And very impactful writing.
I think some of the difference back then was like the attention spans that we have are different. Like nowadays, kids are fed media like 7 seconds at a time or 10 seconds at a time. But back then, they could truly take their time and like build something. So you could get something great out of 30 minutes, and you wouldn't just be like, man, this is still on. I'm ready for the next show. It was just a different kind of audience that you could target. Like you can't feed a kid the same kind of content today that you could when we were younger. Like Josh is an exception. I'm like 12 years older than Josh, I think, but Josh has like a mentality of like an older mindset. Like he sees the world differently than like somebody else's age, like that I cannot relate to at all. But like the kind of content, the kind of media that's put out there today is just different. Like I look at some of the stuff, I'm like, oh, this is what we got. Okay, it's just different. Like
And you know what? You're hitting it right on the head. And what you said just spoke to me about you being older than what you might be. Like 2003, people are, you're young,
Yeah.
but I'm an old soul as well. I love 80s music. I love Bobby
Yeah, same.
Brown, New Edition. I love all 80s, some 70s. I love Temptations. And, people be like, how you know these songs? You were born in the 90s. And I'm like, hey, I just love music. And I love, and again, I love culture. Like you can hear the soul behind that music in the 80s and 70s, even 90s and early 2000s. And, it's still here today with some artists, but it comes few and far between. It's kind of difficult to find. You know, I'm a fan of today's music. I am. You know, I'm not trying to poop on it. Anybody watching, you know, anybody who might be younger, I don't mind it. You know, I'm not that old guy, 70 and 8. No, I'm not that guy. But you know, you can hear the difference, and you can hear the culture. You can hear the feeling. You can hear just the struggle behind their voices. And nowadays, you know, you just don't get that same feeling. It's dope music, but you don't
It's
get the
not
feeling.
You
authentic.
can
I
feel
feel
the
It's
like,
not.
soul. You can feel the
yeah,
soul.
Right,
You know.
right,
you
right,
can
right.
definitely tell. Like I've been listening to King since E3. Like I'm obsessed with it right now. And like when you're listening to what Nas put out like 2 days ago versus like all the other media that's put out like in hip hop, like it ain't different. Like it's different. Like feel like
Very
it's
good
a
too.
matter of authenticity. Like whenever you're listening, I was like, oh my god, like you can feel it. It's a different reaction. Most of today's music isn't so much about like what you can feel and speak it to the soul. I feel like it's more so like just okay, is this a hit? And that's all they're targeting. You know, it's not like you don't feel it. Like it's just what they put out. Like they're like, oh, this is good instead of can it be relatable? Like, do I feel this? Like,
Mm,
do I vibe with it? Kind of thing.
mhm.
I think that's like what a lot of the '80s music is too. Because like I'm the same way. I like '80s music. I was born in the '90s. I wasn't around when it was around, but like '90s music, I didn't really vibe with it too much. The exception of like some Biggie, some Pac. But I enjoyed those like as I got older in life versus like when they were coming out. But '80s music, it's you can tell when they went in that studio, every word they spoke on those tracks, like they meant it. No matter what the genre was, like
No
it
matter.
was believable. You could feel it, whether it was pop, you know, Michael Jackson, Prince, or you know, David Bowie, whoever it was. Like it was just different times, you know.
Authentic.
Yeah.
And they were stepping outside of the box. Michael Jackson
Yep.
was creating movies as music videos. It was like absurd, you know,
Yeah.
the choreography, the dancing, and the makeup and the acting, and all of these things were very fresh. And I
Yeah.
think today's generation lacks thought. You know, they're not trying to think of
Yeah.
innovation. They're just like, all right, there's $1 million right there. Let me go grab it.
Yeah.
This content is popping. Let me make that content. And
Mhm.
me, I've always tried in my own path by not following that because there's no
Yeah.
longevity in that. You know, you got to build your own
Exactly.
legacy and build it up how you want to, the way you're supposed to, and the way you deem it fit. You know, I believe in my own morals. I don't believe in following this or that or that or this. I like what I like and I stick to it, and people will gravitate or people will not. It's up to you. That's just kind
Yep.
of how I rock it.
Relating to that,
Exactly.
tell me what you guys think about this. Cause like me personally, I kind of hate how today's media and like today's like popular trends kind of destroyed like the old stuff. Like MTV, right? That channel was all music videos and like you can watch the newest music videos on that, and that's a whole experience, you know. Doing that like Michael Jackson videos coming on that and stuff like that, and then you
Mhm.
have the CDs and buying like an actual album in person. You know,
Mm,
it's different than just streaming something these days. Like an artist can come out and like have 100 million listeners to an album, but that
yeah,
still doesn't mean anything. Like this
nothing.
doesn't mean anything, and they're like, oh, I sold 500,000 albums. If it was just physical releases, they probably would even sell like 1,000. You know, like I don't
A
think these
hundred percent.
people would pop out for them. You know, it's just I don't like how the new stuff kind of destroyed the old stuff. It's becoming more just casual and less actual fans.
Yeah.
I would say that is the blessing and curse of the blessing and the curse of innovation, because Steve Jobs created and Apple created, you know, iPods, and I know I was excited when I first got my first iPod. You're like, this is cool, you know,
Yeah.
and innovation took over, and we got faster, and technology got faster, and information got faster, and our need for or our wants for faster communication and things just add us they gave us that. You know, I think a lot of times I tell a lot of people that and they get like a little defensive, but us as consumers ask for a lot of this.
That's true. That's
They're
true.
only following the wave.
Yeah.
If we ask, they give. That's just how business goes. And
Yeah.
again, at my 30-year-old mind in business, I already know how this goes. If you ask, I'm going to give. So if you're sitting here asking, saying, "Well, my Wi-Fi is a little slow," we're going to give you faster Wi-Fi. What does that mean? Yes, that's a blessing, but there's a curse to that. Well, with faster Wi-Fi, now we can create TikTok, and now I can give you 15-second videos, and like you said, in seconds. And then now MTV is no longer a thing. Now this is no longer a thing. That's no longer a thing. And it starts to push these different, you know, things away. It's just a blessing and a curse. I feel like if we don't ask for certain things, we just don't get it. Um, and things can help us, But again, it's always the pro and con thing. For every pro, there is a con to it. And with technology, it's just that fine line. I always walk right in the middle. I see the bad side and I see the good side of it.
I feel
See
that.
both sides like Chanel.
Yeah, yeah,
Frank Ocean. Okay, Brian.
You already know.
But like honestly, yeah,
yeah.
I 100% agree with that. That's true. It is a
Mm-hmm.
blessing and a curse. But like people are so obsessed with like technology and just like being popular today. Like the whole like let's talk about this. This is new. The Twitter Blue. Subscribing to Twitter Blue and getting that check. Now tell me, would either of you guys subscribe to get that check? Be honest. Be honest.
So it depends on how you look at it, right? It depends
Okay.
on what your
Okay.
goal for Twitter is, right? So
Mm-hmm.
for me, right now, it's a no. Reason being is the only value that I would see in it is posting longer and higher quality content. But we literally have that for free on YouTube.
That's
It's
true.
it's YouTube. You
That's
can
true.
direct people to your YouTube. It's already there. Some people need that validation, that check mark, because their personal reasons. But aside from the video quality and length, I don't see any other benefit. But if you think about when people are scrolling on Twitter, they're looking for massive amounts of entertainment and content in a short window of time. They're not going to
Mm-hmm.
watch a 10-minute video on Twitter. Nobody
Right.
is, like, for being honest.
Right.
I'm not.
I'm
I'd be
not
on
either.
YouTube for that. I'm already on YouTube looking for that kind of media, looking for that kind of content. So for me, it would be a waste of $8 unless there's some other value that they add that I can't get somewhere else. But I think it's one of those things where a lot of people want the check mark. It feels cool, but they're going to cancel their subscription 3 months down the road. Like it's just there's already something there for the part of it that I would subscribe to.
And you hit around the money. I think it just depends on what they add to the model. Like right now, as is. I mean, editing tweets is pretty dope. I know me, I'm typically typing really fast and I make
Mhm.
typos and I'm like, oh, I can't believe I missed that. You gotta delete the tweet and then redo it. Like it does get tedious. Outside of that one thing, I don't see a need for it. The check mark has never
Yeah.
meant anything to me. Um, but I like that, of course. Like, of course, it looks cool. Like,
It
yeah,
is.
does it look
Yeah.
cool? Yeah. Like, and it makes you feel like, oh, I got notarized. This is, but
Yeah.
I'm not chasing it. It's not like, oh, I need it so bad. No, it's okay. I'll save my $8, and you times that times 12. You got your math. I mean, come on, that's a lot of money for a check mark.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I'll pass. I'll
Exactly.
pass. I'll
I
pass.
like the one thing that I pay for that you could say is like optional or something is free is like Discord Nitro. For me, I see the value in that.
I
I
pay
can
that.
upload 500 megabytes files, that longer content, and if I'm sending that content out, the audience is already there for it. They want to see it. I see the value in it. But for
I agree.
Twitter, you gotta realize who's on Twitter. It's just people looking for content, something silly, something stupid, something to ha to. They're not gonna watch my 10-minute Call of Duty video on Twitter, bro. They're on their phone, they're watching something else. They're gonna be like, oh, okay, cool.
Flicking
On to the
through.
next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's a waste of my $8 for it to just fall on deaf ears.
I agree.
Honestly,
I think. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt. I
no, you
think
go.
for $8, I just want to throw that out there just in case Elon Musk was to ever see this. I think $8 would be great if I could go higher on people's list. So as a
Okay.
business, I would pay that $8, $10, and I know he's trying to get rid of those unfair advantages, but you know. I feel like we're in a pay to win type of life
Yeah.
right now. And like, why not just make it a business model? Well, let's try it
Yeah.
out. I mean, you're trying everything else, right? We're trying everything else. Why not? Because I feel like as a business, it's difficult. And I feel like as a small business, I feel this way for now. If I was a big business, I'm not sure if I would need it as much. But as a small business, like it's so difficult for us to thrive at times. I would love to see some type of help. Like, can I just get higher without paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for ads? Like, is there any way we can work that in there and make it a little bit more
Mhm.
fair? I don't know. Maybe I have a bigger reach engagement. I don't know. Something along those lines. That'd be great because we need some help, man. I feel like any small business owner can relate to that because you're struggling against those check marks. You're fighting
Yeah.
against the people with the power. So if there's any way we can level that playing field, that'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah. I
100%.
think one of the things that I'd read or seen is that I think allegedly like your content's supposed to get pushed like a little bit further up, like if you do have the check mark. But I think that could be done like behind the scenes. Because like Twitter Blue has been around like longer than most people realize, at least
Yeah.
over a year.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was like filtration where your content's going to be at the top of the highlighted, top of the feed, top of the page, I get that kind of like you were saying from like a business perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But if everybody's got a check mark, that's what you visibly see, then does it really truly add validity to the accounts, or is it
Does
just
not.
oversaturation? You know,
That's
I
true.
say
And
remove
that's
the
what it
check
will be.
marks.
That's what it will
Yep,
be.
let the people that have it pay for it. Let them get that priority, but remove the check marks.
I'm already seeing the memes though of like the diamond tester is
Yeah,
like
they,
verified,
yeah.
paid for Twitter
Mhm.
Blue.
Or the
I
mannequin
love
where it's
that.
like this dude played for
Yeah,
Twitter.
yeah.
That's my favorite one. Mannequins.
I love it.
Comment section.
Bro, I'm saying
man.
my thing is like I feel like people are gonna get like roasted in the comment section so much they're just gonna not do
I've
it.
already seen it.
I
Right,
see it
right.
already, bro. People are violating
Mhm.
people on Twitter, bro. But
And it's a wild concept too, like because I feel like the ones that are like roasting them are the same ones that maybe would subscribe or have it if it was like 99 cents or something. But
oh yeah,
some people don't want to spend the money, but they're gonna harp on you if you do.
That's right.
100%.
That's right.
The only reason I would get it would be for editing tweets. I'm notorious for having typos.
Terrible.
Okay,
Terrible.
Brian.
It's a pain point. You know it, bro. It's the worst.
I'll
dude-
post something and I know for a fact I'll get a message 30 minutes later from Brian saying something. I know.
Yeah.
I'm
It sound,
Like-
you guys sound like me and my CEO, my COO. Whenever he sends out a tweet, 1 second later, I'm like, Meech, you forgot to put a word or a letter. And he's just like, for real, where? And I'm like, oh man, come on. Like, come on.
Nah, his is your, and then there, and there.
Those are tricky though. Those are tricky. I'll
mean-
give you. It depends. And the speed, if you're just typing, you might,
True.
The problem is like I never really think about it because like when I'm texting someone, like when I'm not on Twitter, I'm texting someone, I do not care. I'll put like you instead of like the you. I'll put there. I'll put whatever
Make the
there
text
I want to
longer.
do. I ain't trying to make the text longer. I'm just trying to make the text
No,
short.
no. I mean, like the thinking through it, like I don't know. I feel like
It's-
naturally
see-
you would type out the whole word. Like
I'm a
and I
part of
feel
the
like
new
I'd have to slow
generation,
down.
dude.
I agree with you because my brain
Yeah.
would be way harder to type out just you than YO.
Yeah. That's more work. That's more effort. Like,
Nah. Listen, I'm a part.
what do you mean? Nah?
Nah,
So in your mind, right, when you're talking, like, and you're like your brain is just like the letter U in your brain. Like that's how it runs.
Speaking of
No,
talking
it's
in your
not
mind,
natural.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go back to what you just said. But did you know that there's some people that don't even hear a voice inside their head when they're reading something?
They're
Some
psychopaths.
They're
I'm just kidding.
psychopaths. Psychopaths. I
That's
seen
absurd.
that. I was like, they're like, you hear a voice in your head? I'm like, what? Are you insane? You just don't hear anything when you're reading something. Your mind's just blank. How do you process
First
the
off, I
information?
talk to myself a lot in my head.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
You're reading. I'm always talking to myself in my head.
Yeah.
100%. But back to
Now-
what Brian was saying, bro. I'm a part of the new generation. We use LOL, you so much that it's
No, we invented that. Y'all think y'all did.
Nah,
We were doing that first.
come on.
We used to have to do that, bro. We used to have to do that because like you had to like type in these text messages. You had 9 buttons, dog. It was 9 buttons, and so you would have to do it. Sending a text message was like less characters than sending a tweet. So you
know what?
had to do that. We invented that.
I'll take it a step back. AOL
Yeah.
chat days.
Oh, yeah,
chat.
ASL.
Yeah.
Age text location. Right? That's how
We were doing it
chatted.
first. They
ASL.
think they were.
Yeah, that's all right.
Listen. Y'all may have done it first, but we innovated it. Okay, we did it
I
better.
would agree with that too, a little bit. I can't say better, but
What
I
did
mean,
you
I
say?
added some words. I added some words.
But I'm saying we do it so
Dictionary.
much, it's unconscious at this point. Like
Yeah.
I'll think, like legit. Sometimes I'll be writing an essay for my class. I'll finish the essay. I'll go back and read through the essay. There's sometimes I'll put you instead of you. I'll put some like text messages, like abbreviations, and I don't even realize I'm doing it. It's so like
You gotta
ingrained.
quit that, bro.
It's
You're
so
going into like
ingrained.
the adult field, dude. You gotta.
Mm.
I need
That's
you
why
to
I
start sending
proofread.
your text messages and your tweets as if you're writing a professional.
You just hit it on the
You
money,
have
and
to.
that's what I had to start
You
doing.
can't do that.
Because I used to be the same exact way. I would use different yours and different theirs and different
Yeah.
twos, and I'd be like, "Who cares? It's not English class." But little do you know, they nitpick.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
these
People are always watching.
sponsors nitpick, and they're going to say the littlest things about you to doubt you, and you want to give them less reasons to doubt you and for you to prove them wrong. You just want to show them off the bat who you are, and this is what you're about, and this is what I offer, and done. The same way you said almost in the beginning, I gave the best answer. That's because I know who I am and I know what I represent. You have to know if I'm in a professional field, you gotta tell yourself, hey, everybody else is professional and they're paying attention to their
A
twos and
hundred
they're
percent.
theirs and they're yours. And
Yeah.
then, I gotta hop on that wave. And that's where I was, because I was the same
Mhm.
way as you. I would just text however. And then I'm like, wait, this matters almost. It matters to a lot of people. So I definitely
It's
think that is important.
it's a respect thing, honestly, because like
Mhm.
they're thinking like, yo, if I have to do this, like how dare he like message me and assume that he can just
Yeah.
type whatever he wants to type,
Right.
and I'm
Right.
just gonna let him do that. You know,
Right.
in a way, it's
Right.
kind of disrespectful to the person you're messaging. Like when I'm on email, I'm emailing like a professor or something. I send the best email ever.
Yeah, yeah.
Like my emails, like you can't say no to my emails. Like I finesse.
Yeah.
I don't finesse. Let me take that back.
My man said he
You
said
gotta cut
email
that out,
game
the
before
John. You gotta cut that out in post production. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
That's nothing.
But I send the best emails. I always get a yes. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. I sent out like the way I got like I have an internship. Where I got that internship, I sent out so many freaking different emails. Only one person replied. This is a good lesson for anybody who's watching, bro. If you want
Like
something, you gotta do it to like everyone. Cause I sent out about 50 emails, one person replied. That's 1 out of 50. That's a 2% chance. 2%. People are like going
Yeah.
crazy, thinking like, oh, yo, if I message 10 people, one will reply. That's not possible. It's not gonna happen.
Right.
I got one response. He responded a couple times, and then a couple months later, ghosted me for like 2 months. Didn't say nothing. I emailed him again after that 2 months, and we got it through. He was just busy. You just
Yeah.
gotta be persistent, keep grinding, keep working, and it will come. It will come. Just
Yeah.
keep doing what you're doing. You know.
I agree with that.
But
That's like for me, the people like no jobs, bro. Like they be filling out like 10 apps in a week and talking about I got no job. Well, I wonder why.
I wonder
You
why.
applied to 10 places in 7 days. You know, like that's
Oh,
that's literally like casting your line into the lake to catch a fish like
yeah.
once every 3 hours, and you're there for like 9 hours and expecting to just like get a big bounty. You know, you're only gonna get what you put in.
mhm.
And you hit around the money, and I think a lot of times people don't value the hard work, and you got to
Yeah.
fall in love with what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you have to enjoy it. You have to wake up and say, I want to do it. And there is days, there's days where I'm just like, man, I don't want to do this. Man,
Yeah.
this is rough. But you get past that and you keep going. You like as far as content creation, I've been doing it for about 8 years, 10 years. And like you said, it's just consistency. For the past 9, 8 years, I've been a little name in my city. I'm pretty known, but outside of that, it's difficult to like really build it. And I think at young ages, and when I say young, I mean 25 and younger, even 28 and younger. Because again, my mindset 2 years ago when I first started this is way different at 30, and I've realized that now. So when we're younger, we think we have all the answers, and we think that the work that we're putting in, like even if you are giving 100%, you think that's enough. And in reality, there's somebody giving 120%, somebody giving
Yeah.
130%. There's somebody going to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. You're going to sleep at 10. There's somebody waking
Yeah.
up at 5 and you're waking up at 8. How bad do you want what you want? And understand whatever you want, there's competition.
Yeah.
Because we go into it with naive thoughts. Yeah. You go into it with naive thoughts. When you first start, you're like, I love this, and I'm gonna dominate. But then you're like, wait,
Yeah.
there's other photographers, there's other book writers, there's other authors, illustrators, there's other there's people with your same ideas, and you gotta outwork
Yeah.
them. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. So
That's why.
make sure you do what you love.
That's why I love J. Cole's song "Love Yours." I forgot what the specific verse was, but like, oh, there's always gonna be a girl that's better than your girl. There's always gonna be a car that's faster than your car. The point of that song was, oh yeah, love what you have, but it also goes in the opposite way. Like you could be working your hardest. You could be working till 1 a.m. There's gonna be someone out there working till 5 a.m. You could be working till 5 a.m. There's gonna be someone out there working till 7 a.m. There's always someone outdoing you no matter what. But you just gotta work to your maximum potential and try your best and hope you get there.
And also use that as motivation. I think a lot of times people see competition as a bad thing. I love like having it's not like I love it like that. That's where you build the most. It's like, wait, you do the same thing as me. Well, what you do over there that I ain't doing? Or what you do over there I ain't doing? And then y'all just talk and they're like, we cool. And then now that's a different word, and it's called networking. You just network
100%.
properly. Y'all got past that little competitive stage. We're like, oh, well, you're this and you're that. No, y'all just come together and we can work together and we can build a fan base and we could do it together. You get a little fan base, I get a little fan base, and there's a good thing in numbers. You want to make sure you have numbers on your side. Nobody does it alone. And I realized that. And I've been in that mindset where I'm like, Psh, I'm JD. You can get big headed doing this stuff. I mean, it just is what it is. It's an
Yeah.
actual thing. And as a man, you have a little ego.
Yeah.
There is times where I'm like, I'm JD. I'll do it. And then I'm like, like I'm nothing without Shoot2win. Like my team, even though I put this together and built it, they make me like, and I tell them that all the time. Like, there's value in you guys, and the value is more in you than it is in me. I'm just the guy with the thought. You guys are making this run.
Yeah. I think that's kind of how it runs, like with our clique. Like POS and then like Josh and Brian are like synonymous, bro. I don't think that people see me as an individual anymore, to be honest, man.
That's how it is with me and my
Like,
COO. That's how it is.
They just see me as a group, which I guess is a good thing because that means that we're doing something positive. That they can
That's
like,
right.
all right, post office squad. They just like assume that everything I do is about that, which is to a certain extent kind of true. But that's a good thing.
That's
Absolutely
an
a good thing. Yeah.
That's an awesome thing. And I would say this: if there's somebody watching this, there's and I'm gonna tell you how I told my COO. There's value in being the quote unquote backup guy, or there's value in being, I call it the team player. I'm only calling it the backup guy because that's how most people view it. But you're being the sixth man. You're being the team player. You're the one who holds on and glues it. Without my brother and my other COO, Meech, I'm gonna be struggling.
Yeah.
And even though they're not the faces of Shoot2win, they play a very vital role for me and an important role, and they hold me down. And I tell them all because, and the beautiful thing is you got to have unselfish people like that on your team as well. Not everybody is meant to be the chief. You do need the Indians, and that's okay. And if you are part of that crew of Indians, you're like, bruh, like we're making this shit thrive. This is great. You should hold pride in being a team player. I tell people all the time, even if I'm not the face, I'm cool with that. I don't mind playing my part. I do not mind being a team player. I'm usually the support player in Overwatch. I don't mind supporting. I ain't got to be the head. I don't. It just so happens that I am that for now. But if I got to play a team player role, I'm down to do that.
It's crazy
don't
that
be
you
afraid
say
to be, unselfish.
Yeah, Josh and I, we're in a similar position. Like, so we are currently the faces, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't want to be the faces right now. We say it all the time. Like, I've been saying it for over a year. I want to like fall back, not necessarily be the one making content. Just me, Josh, and Jordan. Just be the ones in the background. Then we're just putting other guys on. They're the faces, but we're the backbone. Like, I'm ready to, do this. Turn the camera off, turn the lights on, and just be that guy in the background.
Oh, believe me, I've already said out loud, I would hire a CEO once I get to that point where I'm a business.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Like, the stress is like, first off, I got a wife, I got kids, I got other endeavors that I'm interested in, like video game acting. I want to get into voice acting. Like, these are things that I know I can accomplish and I want to do, but all my time is being, and I don't mind it because, again, I love the grind and I love gaming.
Absolutely.
But as much as I love it, like you just said, the stresses of running it consistently and running it successfully, and you start to learn. At first, we try to make everything perfect. At first, I'm like, how do we make this perfect? And then you start to slowly realize
you can't.
That is impossible.
You can't.
There's always going to be an issue within your business and within your life. There's no fucking perfect. I'm gonna throw that out there for the million. If this ever gets to millions of people, nothing is perfect. Believe me, there's been plenty of times in my S2W career where I'm like, all my people are quiet. We're good. We're just grinding. And then next thing I know, a week later,
quiet is scary.
And then,
what kind of evil's brewing?
A week later, they're like, "Hey, this guy ain't show up for this." I'm like, "I thought we were good. Like, what is going on?" And then I realized, every day is going to be a different battle, and we have to put out these fires every single day to run it successfully. So I completely resonate with everything you're saying. I believe me, we're in the same exact predicament, and I love to hear the same exact stories because it shows you and everybody else watching you're not alone.
Yeah,
everybody is going through the same shit you are at different points in their life through different eyes, and we're just trying to make it through all the same. But how do we get successful? By doing things like this. It's my first time meeting these two guys, and it's a wonderful conversation. It seems so natural. Why? Because we're open people. We have same similarities. We want to network together, and it's a beautiful thing to see. So understand, this is proof in the pudding. You might be looking at this right now. You're saying, wow, these guys, this is my first 40 minutes of meeting them. And it's a beautiful thing to just kind of make it. It's very simple. It's very easy. and this is how it goes in business, and this should be a stepping stone episode where people, anybody watching, if you have any type of ideas, any type of pursuits, pursue it and do it like this. Have open conversations, go talk to people. I think a lot of times, like, especially as streamers specifically, just talking to streamers, we click go live and hope viewers come in. No, this is a networking process. You gotta go talk to people.
Yeah.
You gotta spend time in their streams, and you don't want to,
But you
but you
got
have to because you
Yeah.
got a network. You got a network.
honestly, like, and I relate heavily to your point, like, in business, like, do not start a business or do not go into any leadership type role if you do not want to deal with problems. Because legit,
Yeah.
there is it may not be a new problem, but there is a problem every single day. It could be a reoccurring problem. It could be a problem
Yeah.
that lasted over a long amount of time, but there's always a problem for you to fix. And that's why, like, leaders in business, they're always stressed, they're always working because they finish one thing, they fix one thing, they're happy for like 5 seconds. They get that message the next day, yo, what's going on with this? What's happening with this? I'm not happy about this.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my gosh, again?
Yeah. And it's not for everybody either,
Yeah,
you know?
it's
Like,
not.
that's the good thing about free will, man, is like, if you're not built for it, you don't got to do it. You can be the best right-hand man on the planet and be
100%.
happy. Because it's kind of like you said, like, I'm in management. I literally only put out fires. That's my job. And then I voluntarily do it for the org also. It's like, you just have to have that personality for it. I think
Yep.
what keeps me into it is there's a certain satisfaction in knowing that, like, something is orderly, or you've like done something right, or like, oh, this is going well because, you know, I saw a problem, created a game plan, now it works. Like, there's a certain satisfaction in that. And there may be, you know, something else that you're into that it may not be leadership. It could just be like, yo, I'm the best at showing my personality, or like, I'm the best shooter on the team, so I go crazy with the shooting, or you know, winning the tournaments. Like, everybody's got a different role. You just got to figure out where you fit in, and if you want to be a part of an org or something like that, you have to know what you're doing going into it, what your goals are, what you're going to be doing, if it's for you or if it's not for you, whether you're a team player, solo player. You just got to kind of figure those things out ahead of time. Just figure
Yeah.
out
And I
who
love
you
that
are,
you
what you
said that.
represent.
I love that you said that, because for all my sports fans, to make it more relatable just to everybody,
Mhm.
be a Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Outside of punching.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I know what you mean. Yeah.
He's there for his teammates. I mean, even
Except
the
Jordan
punching.
people in the balls for the
It
team, you
depends
know?
on the situation. Maybe I don't know. But anyway, besides the point, here's Draymond Green on the court. He does
Yeah.
everything. He dives for the loose balls. He picks. He passes. He doesn't want to shoot first. You don't. And look at him. Successful career.
Mhm.
Like, my man averages like 8 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. He's not the star. He doesn't put up
Right.
the most numbers.
Mhm.
He's the most impactful person on that team, even
Yeah.
next to Stephen Curry. Because without Draymond passing and being unselfish and setting picks and playing defense and rebounding, Stephen Curry ain't getting all these open shots.
Exactly.
Not everybody's born to be Stephen Curry. Don't mind being a Draymond. Why?
Yeah.
Like, literally learn from what you watch.
Yep.
You're not looking at 5 stars on the court. You're looking at 1 or 2 at most. And you're looking at a bunch of great role players that help you become a championship.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be Stephen Curry. I like what you said about that. It's the freedom of thought that you got to tell yourself. You got to be real with yourself. I think a lot of times you can lie and be like,
Right.
I am superstar. And it's great to believe in that.
Main character syndrome, bro. People just be walking through life as the protagonist. Everybody's a protagonist.
I don't mind that you believe in that. That's great confidence. But there's a fine line between confidence and lying to yourself. Delusion.
Yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
Confidence and delusion are right. It's just a middle, and you can walk right down that path. But you can teeter totter to either side at any moment. And I can tell
Yeah.
you, I've been delusional in my life. Like, I've told myself I'm a top 2K player, and I went out there and got killed. I got killed in the combine.
Yo, 2K is brutal, man.
It is.
Right?
2K
I
is
mean, I did a fair thing, you know, a fair share of killings. You know, I was out there doing my thing, you know, getting my
Yeah.
dribble on, and then I found out, man, there are some real basketball players in this esports realm. Like, they know
Yeah.
what they're doing and they know the game. So, as I always said earlier, there is pros and cons to everything. And delusion and confidence is one of those pros and cons. Do not lean to either side unless you're trying to
Yeah.
be confident. But even then, confident could be bad. Overly confident, you start making bad calls, you gotta walk that middle line as best as you can
Yeah.
between confident and delusional.
Yeah, don't
and
be
I think it's
scared. Oh, I'm sorry.
oh no, you're good.
Oh, I was about to
Okay,
say.
I was gonna say. I said, don't be scared to be that sixth man. Like he was saying about Stephen Curry. If you watch, there was this one clip. All the teammates were like blocking everybody else, making sure Stephen Curry could get through. Like legit, you cannot get to Stephen Curry because his teammates are keeping him from you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's why he always has a clear path. That's why he's always able to maneuver. He's always free. You know? And like I think it was many people are fans of Kanye, especially out of recent stuff. Obviously,
I love his music.
I love his music, but like,
and I like what some of the things he's saying. Let me throw that out there. I like Kanye a little bit. Go ahead though.
Yeah, but like he was saying
Just wanna throw that
when
out
he
there.
was a producer, and like he was like behind Jay-Z and everything. He was like, "Yo, sometimes you do gotta be that second man, even if you believe in yourself and you're confident and you're like, yo, I can be that superstar. I can be him." Sometimes you just gotta stand by your man and stand there and hope that he brings you to where he wants to go. Because if
That's
he
right.
brings you to where he wants to go, there's a possibility of you breaking out and making your own lane. And that's what Kanye did.
Yeah.
He followed Jay-Z. Jay-Z, he eventually got put on. That's exactly what happened. And
Patience.
and that's because he was able to be humble, which is crazy because that man's not humble at all now.
Not
but
at all.
but he was able to be humble enough back then and be like, yo, I'm gonna just follow him and see where it goes. You know, sometimes you just gotta follow somebody and see where it goes. And after a while, once you learn enough, you can try to do it yourself. But like Brian and Jay was saying here, not everyone's made to be the main character, and it's hard. It's hard to accept that, hard to realize that, but not everybody's made for it. You know, it's
I
a
agree.
special thing. A special thing.
And I would say and patience is a big deal. Again, Kanye was patient. You know, he worked hard. He was making beats in his room. You know, he said in his song he was making they said five beats a day for 3 summers. Like he was
Which is
literally
wild.
making
That's
it was
literally
absurd.
wild.
Like
I
that's
love
literally
that
what he was
song.
doing. He was making 5 beats a day for 3 summers. Like that's a lot of beats. And he trapped himself in his love and he got to what he
That was
is
Spaceship,
today.
right? My bad. But that
Spaceship.
Spaceship.
Yeah,
That was a
of
song. I
course.
freaking love that
Yes.
song.
Yeah.
I'm a Kanye man. I love that song.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And you know, I love Kanye. Shout out to Kanye. He just he just gotta relax, man. He just saying way too much. And like, bro, like, listen, man, like whole George Floyd thing really got to me. And you know, like it's really those comments and like some of the because people say, well, he's telling the truth. Yes, he's telling the truth in some of the things that he says. Very so.
Some things don't got to be said. You know,
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah. There's a lot of things I
Just
think that don't get said.
Like, although he might be right, you
So-
don't say those things.
You
and
keep
we
it
just
in your
kinda-
head. You keep it in your head.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's
like,
that main character thing. Sometimes you don't got to be right.
You don't. You just say, all right, listen. And you know what? And this is what I tell people all the time. There's a right way and wrong way. Again, pros and cons. We always go back to it. You could be a LeBron. You could be a Jay. Jay-Z partnered with the NFL and started getting black people on to halftime. We had Snoop Dogg and what? How?
Yeah.
You know, how? Because he made real change. He went in there and was like, listen, this is what we're going to start doing. And if not, then I don't want to partner.
Out there crip
Go
walking
in and
and
start
stuff.
making, right?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't happen on Super. Like, come on.
Come on, I was
What?
tired.
Like the most gangster halftime show you ever seen. And it's like, that's real change. LeBron is putting kids through school, building his own school. Like, real change. And Kanye has done some of those things, which is why I'm saying I don't want to overlook those things. But you played the game at the end of the day. And Kanye knows that. You play the game and you play it the right way. I love the outspokenness and some of what you're saying is true, but you got to play the game and you got to play it right. And if you want to make real change, you do it behind the scenes. Not everything got to be said. Infrastructure, really get behind them, and you start to build black wealth quietly as you're doing, as you were doing. Now it's loud and about, and now you're canceled, and now it looks stupid, now you look crazy, and it's like, slow
It's
down.
hard for you to do good that
slow
way,
down.
you know?
It's sad, bro. It's so sad. I hate talking about it that way because like it's so sad because of he has a genius mindset, like the things that he's accomplished and the ideas and the music that you hear and the hip hop beats and the choruses and having like gospel sounds and the song, like that's everywhere now. And that was never a thing before Kanye. He's literally a musical genius.
But like the smartest people always are the craziest people. You know what I mean? Like, like
The most outside
legit. Like
Yeah.
people don't like to accept that, but it's true. You know, if you ever look up to someone, 99% of the time, at some point, they're gonna disappoint you because you're looking up to them. You know, you have them in the highest standard than you have most people, and at the end of the day, they're a person just like you are. You know, like that's the hardest fact for like most people to accept. Like they look at their parents, like the mom or dad, they be like, "Yo, why did they do this? I'm upset they did this." And then like, when they get older, they're like, "Yo, they were just a person," you know, like I was in the same situation. Like I have a kid now, I have this now, da 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 da. Like I'm in the same situation, you know, and now I understand how they think, you know. Like
I always say, no, go ahead. I don't know. Go ahead.
Continue.
Okay. I always say, all of us as humans have our own thought of what the world should look like. Very few of us have the resources to do it. I can't look at someone like Elon Musk or Kanye and say, you should be doing that with your money and doing this with the world. All because what they see with technology and humanoid bots, while I might not agree with that, they have their own thought of what the future should look like, and they have the resources to do it. And if you had the resources, you might want to do the same thing. You know, you just see it your own way. And when you have the money and resources to do it, you're going to attempt to do it. And that's what these guys are doing. And I can't say I agree or disagree. I'm just kind of holding on and hoping that the future's bright. And I can only teach my kids and teach my household. And hopefully we move together as a unit. But I think a lot of times, like us as humans, you try to take on the world. And it's like these guys have the money and resources to create the world that they think is going to be the best future. And we're just hoping that it happens. And it might not be right or wrong, but it's just the reality of what it is for right now.
Yeah, like, but my only thing, like with Kanye and stuff like that, he has been saying some like wild, out of pocket stuff. But I did not like how they like handled it. I don't like one thing that I absolutely hate with like my whole heart. Whenever someone does, it's like thieving, like thieves and stealing people's stuff. I hate that Adidas. I mean, it was in the contract, obviously, but they took his designs. He's not allowed to wear or sell his stuff. But they're allowed to wear and sell his designs, his stuff. They can make money off it. He may get like a 2% profit off what they sell, but they stole it. I hate seeing that stuff because creatives get screwed over all the freaking time when it comes to business, designers, artists, whatever business you're in that has creators in it. They always get their crap stolen by somebody who's just looking to make money off it. I hate seeing that with a passion.
That's where kind of like starting up with people similar to you and at the same level and kind of growing together will come in. Because if you go to the man with all the money and all the power, he wins 100% of the time. But like kind of like when we had Ray on and you guys were talking about some of the things you guys wanted to do with like clothing and stuff like that, I was like, okay, well, I know a guy that can take pictures for you. And it's like using the smaller people around you and then just like building up together versus like you guys going straight to I don't know who makes clothes. Like behind the scenes, not just the brands, but like, you know, like the people that can actually fund it and stuff like that, you know, just start small.
The problem is
that's what ends up happening.
A lot of people have issues listening to people who are on the same level as them. That was Kanye's issue for a lot of it.
You gotta put the ego aside,
I'm not gonna listen to someone who's less rich than me. He'll still say that to this day, but he'll admit now that Sway was right years ago.
Yeah, you don't got the answer, Sway.
Yeah, he's like, Sway was right. And if you can admit somebody was right, then that means that what you're saying is wrong. You know, like sometimes people who you consider below you are right. You just gotta take that sometimes. Sometimes people who are on the opposite side of you, opposite view, like a Democrat, Republican, whatever. A Democrat listening to a Republican, sometimes they're right. You know, like, it's hard to accept just because they're not the same person as you. You know, keep that open.
And you know what? I would say
be watered, like Bruce Lee says.
Right. I love that. Be watered. I would say through this game of life, I've been in that mindset before. I still go through it sometimes, and it's difficult to say there's a wrong and right to what you just said about the whole entire idea of listening to somebody beneath you or what you deem beneath you.
Yeah.
I take that with certain people, and you have to be that way with certain people, especially on the internet. I treat most people on the internet like you're beneath me if you got something rude to say all the damn time.
Yeah. I mean, that's valid. That's valid.
Right. But like,
you're not constructive in any manner.
Sometimes there's a fine line. There's a fine line because some of that constructive criticism, that toxic stuff that they're saying might be flaws, like you said, and you that you can fix. So it's always that up and down game with me. I'll read it and be like, You don't know what the hell you talking about. Do you know who I am? Like, I'm the CEO. You get that mindset, but then you kind of shut up. And you're like, wait, maybe this guy got a point. I mean, shit.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be doing this. I shouldn't be doing that. You know, it is a very fine line between listening to somebody who's beneath you, but you got to kind of pick and choose. You got to know what's constructive criticism and what is just plain old hate and don't even make no sense. You can't overvalue the compliment, and you can't overvalue the diss or the hate either. Neither of those get value. You just hear it and you kind of just sit on it and you just kind of leave it, and then you kind of go from there. But I think a lot of times we'll overvalue the compliment, be like, look at me. Sometimes we'll overvalue the hate and be like, well, now I'm down. You got to kind of keep it level as best as you can. It's definitely, again, one of those middle things.
Well, some of that is also knowing like who you are and what you're putting out, right? Like if I put out a certain video or a certain content, and if everything is only positive, then how do I grow? You know, you have to be confident and, you know, assured of who you are to know whether something is valid criticism or, you know, a diss, or if something is complimenting because they're my dog, or complimenting because it truly was a good project that was put together well. But you have to know who the comment's coming from, and then also the content or the project or what you're putting out, you know, how valid that information is that you're receiving, you know. And some of that, like if you don't know who you are as a person and everything about you comes from what people say about you, you'll never be able to tell the difference if you don't know what you have to offer, like from the beginning.
Yeah,
boy, he sounds just like me, man. I love it. I love that. That sounds just like me. That's exactly what I be telling my people around me, is exactly that. Know who you are, and if you know who you are, can nobody ever deter you from anything. Again, in the beginning, I said my values. I know who I am, and you can never deter me from that. I'll listen to what you have to say if it's valid, but if it doesn't align with my values, or like you said, like me as a person, I can't even take value in what you're telling me because I can't relate. Like we can't even relate. That makes sense.
Yeah,
I like that.
But like honestly, like what Brian said, like, oh, like, you know, if they're just commenting and being nice because like you're my dog and stuff like that. If you're like someone who I consider family, like you better be honest with me. Like that's like the number one thing with me. Be honest. I mean, you don't have to, you're not necessarily a liar for being like, oh, yo, that looks cool or that stuff like that. But you know you're not telling the full truth. You know, there's a difference between those two things. You know, a liar would just lie to your face all the time, but someone who just likes you, they're just gonna be nicer to you. But if you're my family, like even like to be family, you don't just have to be blood related. Like if I've been close to you for years, you're my boy. You know, I come to you about certain stuff. Be honest, because when I'm coming to you about something like, yo, does this look good? I'm genuinely asking, does this look good? Do not lie to me. Do not say, yo, it looks good. Do not say, yo, it looks good because you don't want to. You don't feel like talking about it. If you don't feel like talking about it, say you don't feel like talking about it. That's all it is, you know? Because if I find out later, like you didn't like it or you didn't, like, believe in it, the relationship's not going to be the same. It's not. Because I can't trust you the same way.
Yeah, and I feel like some of it is, like, positive reinforcement and then, like, constructive criticism. Like, you have to have both, right? Like, 100%. There's this is great, but this isn't. Or not that this isn't, but, like, have you tried this or is this better? Like me and Josh talk about this all the time. I feel like it comes up every podcast, but like when I first started trying to edit a video, I thought the video was crispy, right? I was like, oof, perfect. Josh held me hostage for like an hour and a half and made me make it better out of love. Beautiful. Not like, yo, this is stupid, yo, this is trash. Be like, all right, this is going well. Try this instead. Okay, fine tune it. Make this happen at this time. You know, like
it's pushing you.
And exactly. Yeah, literally making me better by telling me what's good and what's not good. Because if you're only getting positive, you will never grow. You will literally stifle somebody's growth by only giving them positive. You need to tell them what they're doing right because that builds confidence. But you have to go, hey, think about it from this perspective, or why don't you try this? Like you have to have both. Like you have to. And if somebody can't go, this is good, this isn't good, then they're literally hindering your progress with their feedback versus telling you what you need to know. They're telling you what they think you want to hear. I'd rather you tell me what I'm doing wrong because then I will meticulously make it better versus, you know, trying to just be like, oh yeah, you're killing it, bro. You're killing it. But like the clip is like 25 frames per second at like 540p.
They got the biggest font in the world talking about I killed somebody. Like you can't even see anything. Like
you can't see the gameplay. It's the overlays are just excessive, you know.
And, you know, like, and I think that is a winner's mindset. If you can listen to what somebody has to tell you and you take that and use as constructive criticism instead of just, again, suppressing and saying, "Oh my God, why me?" You'll be
Yeah.
successful. And that is something that I hold dear to my heart, is just being real with people. And like, one thing about me, I don't fabricate anything. Anybody around me can tell you, like, that is who I am. And like, while I
Yeah.
might shoot you straight, it's only because I hold myself to those standards. And if
Yeah.
you're around me, you get held to the same standards that I hold myself. I'll look at my stuff, my own stuff, and be like, damn, that was ugly. So if I can do that to myself, I can look at you and be like, yo, bro, this is bad. I'm not gonna lie. But this is what we
Yeah.
can do. And one thing, and again, I can wholeheartedly relate to both of you, because although I might tell you it's bad, I'm gonna help you and I'm gonna show you
Yeah.
which
Yeah,
way
this is
I
what you
would
can do
do it.
different.
Let's change this color. Let's do this. Because it's funny you mentioned, video directing and video producing, and editing. I have done music videos myself, and that's like my first business ever, was shooting music videos, and that's what 90% of my
that's fun,
YouTube
bro.
is. And my first video was absolutely terrible. Everybody told me it was amazing, and it was one of the worst things I've ever done. And it just resonates within me, because I've had fake people around me do that.
Yeah,
Oh, this ain't
yeah.
that bad.
Yes, man.
This looks amazing.
Hey.
And me, I'm holding myself accountable. I'm sitting here like, I don't think this looks good, but if you guys say it,
They're like,
let's
just
put
keep
it
that
out.
cash coming
Yeah.
in, bro. Yeah, hey.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I'll be watching some of my content even to the day. Like I haven't done an edit probably in like a week, but like I can tell what's lazy content, and like when I like try, bro, it hits different. Like, because if I'm editing the clip and I'm laughing at what I'm doing, because I usually go for like the more comedic side of the game,
Right.
because I'm not like cracked in any sense, so it's all like lighthearted comedic stuff. If I don't laugh when I'm making it, I'm not doing a good job. Like if I'm sitting there going. When I'm making the clip, I know I'm doing a good job. Like you can feel it, like once you start doing it long enough. But I think you got to have the bad stuff first to understand
That
like you're
resonates.
really doing a good job. Like it feels different. Like I got some lazy clips out there in the last month, and then there's some bangers in there. It's just the
And,
effort I was willing to put in and the reward I want to get out of it.
That's because you're just going through the motions sometimes. Like sometimes we're just going through the motions. Like we're like, today's another day. We got to upload clips to make sure. You do get kind of bored. And again, that's just me making it relatable to the audience. We get bored too. And millionaires get bored too. You're just like, hey, it's another day, content. But when you're feeling it, you're like, dang, this piece of content is great. You start taking pride in it. And that's one thing I do. I watch my content back, and if I'm sitting there entertained, I'm like, wow, this is great. I know I killed it. But there's other content I'm like, ooh, maybe I should delete this.
Yo, you know the ones that always pop for me are the ones where I'm like, why did this clip pop? And then like I'll have one that I spent like an hour on, like a solid hour and a half to make 12 seconds. And like I got the audio going, I got the music, I got the overlays, the memes, everything's going. 200 views. But then I'll do like something simple and it'll be like 2,000. And I'm like,
it don't make no sense.
YouTube, why you do me like
That's
this?
why I say though, I say it all the time. Like I tell Brian all the time. Simplicity is better. Like especially for short form content. If you have too much overlays, too much memes, too much clips and cuts,
overwhelming.
It's gonna be overwhelming, too oversensitizing. The person's gonna get confused and just not like it, and they'll most likely scroll past it. That's the whole thing. Like TikTok destroyed people's attention span. They can't focus 100%. Like they used to focus. And simplicity is the best thing to do at the moment. But I completely agree with your point with like if you're editing content, I make long form videos on like my second channel. That's like anime and stuff like that. But if I can sit there, like I've done this multiple times. Like I'll sit there and I'll watch the video back like 4 or 5 times. I'm like, yo, dang, I killed that video, bro.
You
like,
know you did a good job.
Yeah, I killed that, bro. And then I'll scroll down to like a couple months ago. I press on a video. I get 30 seconds in. I'm like, oh my gosh. What is this? This is disgusting. The voice, the mic was terrible. The editing was terrible. There was no pictures. There was this. And like the most out of pocket thing, like one of the videos has like 3,000 views. It's like an hour-long video of me just rambling. Now I'm like, what the frick? This is such a bad video. I want to like block myself.
Touch somebody.
Yeah, right.
I was that's the type
again,
of
like you
that
said,
makes you question yourself.
I love that you said simplicity is great, because if you look at some of the biggest brands, Nike's just a check mark. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally.
You could do that with any brand. Adidas is 3 lines in Adidas. Like Gucci's just regular I think it's 2 Gs or Gucci, whatever. Like it's
Yeah,
very
Chanel
simplistic
two
things.
back to
None of
back
them
C's.
it sees like
I should know.
typically you need things you need things that are going to resonate with people, and stepping outside the box too much probably doesn't work too well. You want people to grasp what you want instantly. Instantly.
Mhm.
Like as soon as I see it, I know this got to be a gaming group. Let me click on it. You got to make sure these different things connect, because if not, you're going to be lost in the sauce. Lost
A
in the
Yeah.
hundred
sauce.
percent. Like I was just talking to Brian like 4 days ago, I think it was, maybe a week ago. But we do reaction content on this channel too. And like when
Mhm.
we first started our reaction content, we were reacting to like anything, like the Jubilee, like relationship videos.
I
That
love
crap is
Jubilee.
funny. I love that
Yeah,
crap.
I
It's
love
funny as
Jubilee.
frick.
And Cut.
But
They're both really good YouTube channels.
but I was hitting them up because like the last like 3 videos we did for reaction was like gaming based, like gaming streamer based is actually in our niche, and they've been popping off. Like we had 2 reactions, one got 1,000 views, the other one got almost 3,000 views, and we
Beautiful.
got like 10 subs off of those 2 videos, right?
Nice.
And I was like, yo, Brian, I literally, I don't know why it just came to me right now, but we shouldn't be reacting to Jubilee content on this channel. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why I just realized that right now, but we shouldn't be reacting to that. It should be like streamer and freaking gamer type content. It shouldn't be that.
Yeah,
He is like, I agree.
relatable.
I agree.
Yeah.
You know? It's
see,
sometimes.
I'm gonna miss doing that kind of stuff, but you know, if it
Yeah,
doesn't make sense, then it doesn't make sense.
That's the thing.
you
You
know?
love it, but you gotta follow. Sometimes you have to follow the audience. Like
Oh,
Yeah,
there's been plenty of things that I've tried that just haven't worked out. I had a game show for us, and it was funny, and it worked out. People liked it, but it fizzled out. I've had countless ideas. I can go on about ideas that Shoot2win has had, and I've had, and we've implemented for 2 weeks and been done. You're just experimenting a lot, trying, throwing this
Yeah.
content out, throwing that content out. Does this work? Does that work? We're just testing things, and I think that's one of the things that are underrated about what we do. We just test.
That's
So
one
the
of the
Jubilee thing didn't work out, but the gaming stuff does. We just gotta
Yeah.
kind of follow it.
That's one of the things that are
Yep.
good about being a small business, though, because a big business can't do that. They can't try out as much as they want to try out. As a small business, you don't have that many eyes on you where you can try like 10 different things and say, "Oh, I like these 3 things," and quit the
Didn't
other
work, or
7.
just work.
You know what I mean? Because there's not people like holding you accountable yet. Now you may reach a
Yeah.
point in your career where you're like, okay, I can't just be posting whenever I want to post. They expect these 5 different types of content every week, and I'm gonna give
Right.
that to them. I'm gonna try
Yeah.
one content out this week. If that doesn't work, I'm gonna fizzle it out. But you can't experiment nearly as much as you can right now. That's why that's like one of the big pros of being a small business that people don't realize or don't like think about. As a small business, you can try stuff. You can do
You're in
whatever
complete control.
you want. Yeah, complete control. You don't have stock investors. You don't have shareholders. You don't
Yeah.
have people to answer to. You answer to yourself right now. That's gonna change in the future. So take use of it now. You know,
Yes,
use it now.
yes, and be proud of that. Because I told my team, I'm glad you said stockholders and shareholders. That's one thing I take pride in as a business. After
Yeah.
2 years, I owe nobody anything. We took $0 in debt. We have like everything that we built has been with our little bit of money, our little bit of clout, our little bit of whatever you want to call it, just our grind and our hard work. We've built it without any outside influence. We got it here, so we can really make it. It's almost like being an independent artist in rap or music. It's like you by yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Now you can seek help and go to investors, but then things get sticky and you got old people and now you're in debt. Now you got $1 million business, but now you owe people and
You owe people
Yeah.
$1 million.
that gets ugly. So I much rather struggle like this and just grind it out and learn business myself than put it in the hands of somebody else, although it might expedite things. Back to what we said earlier, having patience. Make sure you're patient with this. It's your baby, you know. Don't just give it to anybody. Be very strategic on who you partner with and who you work with. I know Shoot2win has a couple sponsors. They came up to us. I don't reach out to anybody typically, honestly, as far as sponsors go, because I want businesses that's going to work with me. You believe in what I have. You saw something that I offered and you brought it to. Now, that doesn't mean don't go out and knock on doors. Please go knock on doors. I'm not saying don't do that. But I believe in energy and I believe in karma and I believe in everything working with me. I believe me being patient this whole entire time and me just working hard will lead to good things, and good things have happened. So again, being patient, to kind of piggyback on what we said earlier. I like combining things together in podcasts to kind of go back earlier. Just being patient and really rocking out. You can make anything happen that you really, really want to.
And bro, I heavily relate to what you said about we got it this far. You can take it all the way. I'll say this to Brian all the time, like, bro, we came this far. That means we can keep going. Like, we had these people doing stuff for us. We had these people streaming for us and yada, yada, yada. That means we do have something special here. You know, the fact that people actually believe in it and actually take note of it. And a lot of people say this, like, a lot of people view your content. Just because they don't like it or they don't retweet it, don't mean that they don't see it.
They saw it.
You know, same thing with Discord. Just because they're not talking, they're
people
not
always
commenting,
watching.
doesn't mean they're not
They're
looking.
watching.
Because
They're always watching.
think about yourself. Don't you look at videos and not like? Don't you look at videos and not retweet? Don't you look at Discords and not comment? Everyone's doing that. Think about that.
Josh is a serial lurker. In YouTube, we learned.
Me too.
You learn that you always have to be presentable because you never know who's watching. Never. And it's just interesting to like be in that dynamic. And I do this all the time when I'm working out or going to the gym. I'll be on the treadmill. I usually do like 9 incline. I'll do it for 30 minutes. It'll be on like 3.5 speed or something like that. Crap's hard. At least for me at this moment, crap's hard.
And I do the same thing at the gym, honestly. So I completely relate. I'm at a 3. I usually go to about an 8 incline. Yeah, it's not easy.
It's hard. And I'll do it for 5 minutes. And I'm like, dang, I want to get off. I'm like, yo, you did it for 5 minutes. Can you do it for another 5 minutes? Like, yeah, I can. I go to 10 minutes. Like, oh, dang, this crap's hard. I was like, can you go to 15? Get to 15. I'm like, bro, you did it halfway. You did it one time. Can you do this one more time? I'm like, yeah, I can do it one more time. 20 minutes come, I'm like, bro, you're 75% of the way there. You're almost done. And once you're done, the craziest thing is when you hop off that treadmill, you realize your feet don't hurt that much. Your legs don't hurt that much. It's all mentality. It's your mind tricking you. It's your mind's telling you, yo, this hurts. It's your mind telling you, yo, stop doing this. Stop doing it. Don't continue. I don't want to. But once you hop off that treadmill, and like when it comes to business, once you get to that goal, you realize it wasn't really that bad. It could have been worse. You know, that's what you realize. It's a lesson.
You be walking around different, feeling a certain kind of way, like, oh yeah, I did this. I did this.
All right.
Like there was a story. I forgot who the person's name was, but I think it was like an Olympic swimmer. She was trying to swim to an island, right? And she was swimming. She was swimming. I think it's like 10 miles upon miles. It starts to get foggy, and she can't see the island. And she keeps swimming and swimming and swimming. And the mind's telling her, stop. Like, I'm tired. All that doubt. And she keeps swimming and swimming. And at some point, she's like, yo, this is going too long. I'm stopping. So they take her on the boat. They drive to the island. The island was legit like a mile away. A mile away. But she stopped right there because she couldn't see the island. She couldn't see the end goal. So she stopped. Take that lesson and realize that you never know what your next opportunity is going to be. You never know how close it is. So just keep working and keep grinding. I promise you it'll come. You just got to utilize that chance that opportunity has given you. You know?
Yeah.
And I will also, to piggyback off of that, don't set time limits for yourself.
Don't.
I think a lot of times, like, again, when I was 20, like 21, I remember telling myself at 25, I'll be a millionaire.
Yeah, I said that to myself too.
Yeah, I was looking at everybody. I was talking smack to everybody on my job. Like, listen, I'm leaving this job. I'm gonna be a millionaire. I was like, listen, y'all gonna fight. Y'all gonna hear
everybody
about me.
a car.
Right. No, I'm walking on Amazon. I just got fired. I'm like, yeah, y'all gonna see me in Forbes, Y'all made the biggest mistake of y'all lives. And little do I know, little 20-year-old me is idiotic, you know. And boy, did I lie to myself. Because at 30, I'm like, man, I'm 100% closer to $1 million now than I was. But what the hell was I thinking at 21? Like, this is just unrealistic. Like, what is going on? But again, I was delusional. It is the different parts of life that you start to understand and learn from yourself. It's the lessons that you get. At 21, because I grew up quick, going back and again connecting dots, because I had to grow up quick because of my childhood, at 21, I thought I was 30, and I thought I had all the answers. And all because I was an old soul, I thought I knew what I was doing and the ins and outs of business. But I can tell you, at 21, I knew nothing about financial literacy. I knew nothing about.
I feel that heavily.
I knew nothing, like nothing. I can go on for hours about what I did not know at 21 that I know now. You don't
Yeah.
know anything, and you think you know everything. And my parents always told me that. I look at them and be like, y'all know nothing.
He get icky.
And then I say, with kids, they're like, you don't know nothing. I'm like, oh, I know everything. Y'all, it's like the circle of life. It's just a circle of life. And, at 21, I was delusional, but at 30, I'm confident. And I'm
Yes,
walking
sir.
that line, walking that line.
But I love that you said that. You said you're 100% closer to $1 million than you were before. It's crazy how, I'm not saying this is your specific situation,
Yeah.
but it's crazy how you can be closer to $1 million and still haven't made $10. And that's all because of mentality, all because of work, all because of grind. And that's just
Progress is progress too.
progress.
Even if it's little.
The downfall of progress is just comparing yourself to other people. You're looking at this streamer, they had 10 followers the other day. For some reason, their TikTok clip blew up, and now they're getting sponsorships. Now they're getting like partnerships, this and that. They're making like $100,000, all because one clip blew up. You're like, why isn't that me? I've been doing this for years. Stop comparing yourself to other people.
I'm in that boat. I was in that boat.
Yeah, stop comparing yourself to other people and just work. Put your head down, focus on yourself. The only comparison of your progress should be, am I better than I was yesterday? Am I better than I was a year ago? Am I better than I was when I started this business? And that's what, like, when you're in a down move, I suggest to anybody who's in a down mood and they own a business or anything like that, go back to your, like, first initial content. Look at the stuff you were first posting and say, dang, I really have changed. I progress. I've done a lot, You
know what? You guys have taken everything that I typically say and said it already. Because I tell my team that all the time. The only competition is you. And you can only be better than who you were yesterday. And you can only move forward if the only thing you're looking at and trying to be better than is you. You can't look at other people, can't compare it. Again, I've been streaming, forget content creation, period. Just strictly streaming. I've been doing it for 5 years. I've been on Mixer. I've done it on YouTube. I've done it on Facebook. I've done it just about everywhere. And just like you said, other people were popping and I wasn't. And I questioned myself and I questioned how good I was. I questioned if I was entertaining enough.
Yeah.
I questioned if I was good enough. Those things happen. But then I look at what they did and where they're at now. Those same people aren't getting the same numbers. And it's because a lot of times, like you said, you can just pop off and at the right moment you go up and you see that fame and it feels good for a little bit. But that fame can easily be taken from you at any moment, especially if you don't know how to maneuver it correctly. And I think a lot of people and the streamer community get popular very fast and they don't know how to maintain that and how to continue. And the pressure that comes with having 20, 30, 40, 50 viewers watching you 5 days a week on your schedule, you can't miss a day. You can't miss your 8-hour stream. You can't miss your 6-hour stream. You can't miss that time. Because if you do, as a streamer, you see your numbers plummet. Because it's a very fickle business. If I don't see you every day, I'm going to forget about you. Right. So you feel the necessity of streaming every day, and we know that's not healthy. So it's a very fickle game. Don't just take what you got today. But although my stream's still small in numbers, 10 viewers, 9 viewers, I built up a fan base and a huge community of people who know JayDee. And although I'm not getting hundreds of viewers like some people would, I've seen hundreds of viewers go to zero. I maintained something for 5 years. Maintained it. It might be $100.
That's an achievement for yourself.
Yeah,
that's an achievement for yourself.
$100 every month. I don't need to, take it. Atomic Habits is a book. Atomic, very small. You use small things and you build them. It's not about just huge building blocks every single time. Very small progress over time leads to huge progress. Take your time in life. Patience.
Well, and everything you do represents like your org and your team. So if you're doing positive things and if you're growing as an individual, they're going to grow. Like one of the things that I like about like our group is like we all make our own connections to the group. Josh has people that he knows. I end up knowing them because of him and vice versa. Like Modern Warfare 2 dropped and it was wild. There was one night like we were just chilling. It wasn't even like a planned like, hey, everybody hop on.
Right.
But we had like a lobby where everybody was trying to get in the same lobby with us. And it was all from different walks of life. Some people I work with, some people that Josh knows, some people that knew the org or like, and then you end up with these people from different communities, like blending different walks of life, all knowing each other, like people gaming that might know me as their like mutual connection, gaming with each other when I'm not even on, like that kind of thing. And it's crazy. And it's because of the work that you do and it benefits your organization and that positivity that you guys are trying to do. Like we're kind of the same way, and like you can tell that you definitely are passionate about what you do, and what you do impacts the people that are watching you, and it benefits everybody. So even
And
if
you
it
know
feels
what?
like it's small,
I'll take it a step further right now for you two. We're gonna make the communities bigger because I gotta get you guys into my Discord because I
Mhm.
feel
Yes,
like our
sir.
values align so well. Like we can definitely work together even beyond this. And again, just for everybody on YouTube, an hour and 30 minutes into this conversation, it's my first hour and 30, and we're networking already. It's because our values align, everything we say, the vibes. Like it's about getting out there and getting your face out there and talking to people and really being a community person. I think a lot of times, again, as streamers and as business people, we get shelled up and we think we're like the man or the woman on the
That
planet. We're
guy.
like it. We're just that, that cockiness, that ego. We all got it. But when you're able to put it down, beautiful things happen all
Yeah.
the time. It's beautiful.
Yeah, you
Love
just
it.
gotta remind yourself like why'd you got into this whole
Amen.
thing. It's
Amen.
at the core of everyone who's like leading this type of stuff, like in esports, whatever it be. They have an actual passion for this. If it's been longevity,
Yeah.
like if it's been less than 5 months, I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
You may just want some money. I
On
don't
my
know.
ears.
But
Yeah.
if you've been doing this 2, 3, 4, 5
Yeah.
years, a lot of times 10, 15, I know you love this stuff.
You
And
love
this
it.
is a
Yeah.
Love
genuine
it.
love. You actually want to do this, and it's
Yep.
hard sometimes because people get caught up on rewards and like glamorizing the lifestyle.
Oh,
They
yeah.
forget about the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
They see that they got like 3,000 views on a video. They're stuck thinking about that for a couple of days, and they forget to post the next video. They forget to
Yep.
do this.
Yeah,
They
you
forget
gotta
to
have
do
them
that.
lined up.
Like you were
People
saying,
forget the goal. People forget the
they
goal.
yeah,
Like
they
people,
forget the goal.
you
Yeah,
get the fame and the money and whatever. You get like the instant gratification. You forgot the goal was to be a millionaire or whatever. The
mm-hmm.
goal was to be
Yeah.
as big as you can. But you got the instant gratification out of what you got, and you're like, ooh,
It's settled.
comfortability is an
Yeah.
enemy. Now you're comfortable. Now you're like, ooh,
I can't
I
do
got,
that. That's when you
I
know you're
can't,
doing
Yeah.
I
something. When
can't.
you're comfortable, you know you're doing something wrong. You should never
That's
be
right.
comfortable when you're running something or
Mhm.
doing something.
A
It's
hundred
like
percent.
like what you're saying is basically like one hit wonders. They get that instant fame. They get that record that sells 1 million copies. They make like $1 million, $2 million. They're like, dang, bro, I'm that guy. I'm gonna
Done.
perform this same song for over a year. Never drop anything else. They're donezo. Nobody hears
Yeah.
about them anymore. Nobody cares about them. They may have got their bag. They may be set. But what they really wanted was most likely that fame, most likely that recognition, and they don't have it. And that's what they
Yep.
really
Yeah.
wanted. That's what's gonna eat up on them on the inside. Like Lil Nas X, I don't really listen to his stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of him, but you gotta give him credit because he had a freaking troll song about a video game, Red Dead Redemption, that blew up, and he knew how to maneuver
Market it.
and market it to the point where he is like one of the biggest stars today. And
Yep.
I guarantee you, if it was some random guy that didn't know how to do that, didn't know how the internet worked, would not be here today. Would not make the amount of
Oh,
money
yeah.
he's making today. Would not be recognized today. Nobody would care. They'd be like, "Oh, isn't
Yep.
that the guy who made that one troll song?" Nobody would care. He's much
Mhm.
bigger than that right now. You gotta give him his flowers for that. You know.
Mhm. I agree.
And it's like you were saying about like streamers getting that recognition, like the TikTok may blow up. For me, I will always be grinding for 2 or 3 years with like 100, 200 subscribers, and then one day I'll get that recognition, rather than be grinding for 2 or 3 weeks, having one subscriber, then one day I get 100,000. Because when you're
Yeah.
grinding for 1 or 2 weeks, you do not know how to manage your YouTube channel,
That's
your
right. You don't.
streamer channel. You don't know how to manage anything. And what's
Nope.
gonna happen is you're gonna get that recognition, and people are gonna remember you, and then you're gonna lose it. And the
Yep.
problem is, even if you learn how to do it over time, when you come back, people are gonna remember for you for who you were before. They're like, yo, this guy is the guy that fell off. This guy is this guy. You'll never be able to surpass your old self because you didn't know how to manage yourself when you were that guy.
That's right.
That's why I
And
love doing that.
I'll take it a step further too. If you are somebody who does get instant fame and gratification, the best way to continue the path you're going down is by not forgetting why you came here, and that was passion. It was passion. You started up probably what you started up probably because it's not that way for everybody. But 90% of us start up what we want to start up as far as content goes, or business wise, whatever it is you're in. You do it because you like it. You enjoy it. It's a passion possibly, but don't forget why you started it. Something gravitated towards you to do it. Don't forget that is what you started it, because all the extra stuff starts to become in it, like money and this and that and fame,
Yeah.
clout. The reason you started it was because you loved it. You
Yeah.
had a passion for it. And if you never lose that, and like just like you said earlier about making sure oh, I lost my train of thought because I was picking you
Nah,
back
you
off
good.
what you said earlier. Oh God.
I
I think
hate
it was
when
You
that
good. We're not
happens.
lost. Take
said
time. Think through it. Think through it. You good.
Yeah.
I had it in my head. But earlier you
It be
said
like
something
that
along
sometimes.
yeah,
It'll
all the
come back. It'll
time.
come
Yeah,
back to
yeah,
you in like 10
it'll
minutes.
definitely
You
come
good.
back. But you said something earlier I wanted to piggyback off. But yeah, again, make sure you're sticking with the passion. Make sure that you don't sidetrack because again, those instant gratification things can take over your mental and it can really take over who you are and you start to see those things change.
Stay humble.
Again, we talked about Kanye earlier. You see how well he has changed and how money and getting his Yeezys out like to Adidas and these billion-dollar things, how he has changed over the years. He's always been outspoken, but now you kind of
Yeah.
see, it's a very big difference. So
It's
you
that
can
ego.
tell how money changes you and how fame can change you. It is a different type of monster. It's a different type of beast. So never forget
Yep.
that passion. Keep that within for sure.
That's 1,000% facts. Cause like Brian said earlier, I wanted to like start a clothing brand, and I was thinking about it like a month ago. I was like, yo, I can't wait. Like if this thing becomes big, I can buy this. I can do this. I'll be like recognized. And then it hit me. It's like, why do you care about that? Why are you thinking
Yep.
about
Yeah.
that? It was
Yep.
never about that.
It wasn't.
Be humble. Like stick to why you wanted to do it. Stick for the
Yep.
message you're trying to send with it, and stay
Yep.
stay thinking about that. Cause I was like, yo, I don't want to do this because I want to do this type of marketing or I don't want to do this type of branding. Cause I think it's gonna be corny. I was like, yo, this is gonna be corny. I want to be that guy on TikTok, like, yo, this is my thing. Yo, follow me. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that guy. I was
You
like,
get
yo, that's-
typecasted.
Right.
yeah, I was like, that's
That's
corny, bro. I don't see Gucci. I don't see Louis Vuitton doing that type of stuff. But I was like,
No.
bro, you're not that person. You know, you're not him. Like, why are you
Right.
acting like you're bigger than you
You're
are?
not
Be
him.
humble.
Right.
Yeah.
You can
Be
only be
humble.
Josh. That's it. You can only be Josh.
And what's crazy, like the day after I recognized that, like things instantly went up for me after that. I don't know if you're religious or anything like that, but for me, it felt like God like told me, oh, yo, I know you want this stuff, but stay humble. I'm about to humble you. I'll humble you.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll humble you. You're on a level where I can give you these things, and you can't go crazy with it.
Yep.
You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yeah.
That's how it felt like for me because after that, everything went up for me when it came to that, what I was
Yep.
trying to do.
And that is a great point. Be you unapologetically. Like always be you. Always be you
Yeah.
because you being authentic will gravitate more authentic people to you. I could tell you that I've never been through the cloud chasing stage, thankfully, in my life. I've never
Yeah.
bent, I've never ate a Tide Pod, I've never done none of that weird stuff that we do on the internet. I could tell you I've always been me. And if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, you don't. And at the end of the day, like you got to tell yourself you can't please everybody.
Yep.
I've never been a people pleaser, and I love what you said, Josh, about that because that's true. Like you got to be yourself, and you got to stick to who you are. And B said it earlier as well. Like just knowing who you are. That's the biggest important thing out of this whole entire podcast. Like that's the biggest thing in life. If you can't look in the mirror and really know who you are, you really can't progress in life.
Mm-hmm.
Really can't. And that's easier said than done. And that's also something I wanted to touch on, before we get to wrapping up whenever, before we get to the end of the show. Men's mental health is important to me as well. It's important to shoot to win. If you guys, and especially you two here on the panel, if you guys ever need anything, never be afraid to reach out for help. You know what I'm saying? And I tell people all the time,
Yeah.
even I'm available. Even though you might see JayDee and you might not even know me, listen, my inbox be open. I talk to random people all the time. I mean,
Yeah. Comes with the
I'm
territory.
such a people person. You know what I'm saying? And I know what it's like to feel alone. I know most men do. So, like, if you hit my inbox, I'm never gonna leave you on red. That's one thing I pride
Yeah.
myself on. Like, I will always try to respond. There is some people who y'all just wasting my time. No, I don't want to buy anything. No, I'm not buying the graphics. I
The
appreciate the
GFX
hustle, but
girls.
I'm good right now. Thank you, though. Like, I'm afraid to mention graphic design on Twitter because if you do, nothing but
Oh, yeah.
bots in your inbox. So,
Mhm.
I don't knock the hustle, but there are some inboxes that I will have to ignore because I'm just not interested. But if you hit me
Yeah.
up on some personal stuff and you're like, yo, like you might not know me, I'm
Yeah.
gonna listen and I'm gonna respond because it's important that you speak up about certain things.
And it's
Yeah.
also like some like gratification in the fact that like someone likes your personality or trusts you so much, and they may not even
Yep.
know you. that
Yep.
they will come to you and think that, yo, this guy, like, he's trustworthy. I can be open with him. There's
That
some gratification in that fact. That's how you know
huge
you're
gratification.
being a good person. You
Mm,
know,
mm,
like I don't think
mm.
there's any human that like genuinely wants to be a bad person. I think there's humans that have different perspectives and different views, and they may be raised off a different type of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and their views may be skewed. But I don't think there's any people who truly want to be evil. You know?
Yeah.
I would agree with that. I would. There are people, like you said, who do have extreme views or do extreme things.
There's some messed up people. Don't get me wrong. There's
Prime example, I don't watch Jeffrey Dahmer. You know,
oh yeah,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? There's
yeah,
people.
He just
yeah.
But
misunderstood.
no,
No,
there's somebody who feels that way. It's funny.
yeah.
This is somebody who feels that way, and
Yeah.
not somebody. There are some people.
There's
Lots of
groups of
people who
yeah,
probably feel that way. You
yeah.
know, Jeffrey Dahmer is misunderstood. But no, you know, I think he again just because we talked about him and just piggybacking on what you said about people not being evil, they have evil thoughts. I think some of our brains are just wired differently. You know,
Yeah.
and not I know that's a fact. And I feel like certain people can't hold on to their crazy thoughts. Like I remember watching like Jeffrey Dahmer deeper and like actually listening to like some of the real tapes. And he's like, you know, I knew it was wrong. Like they know right from wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Even the
Yeah.
people who do really wrong, they know it's wrong, but they're compulsive things in the brain is wired differently. You have
Yeah.
to act on some of these things, and they wind up looking evil and being evil. But that doesn't mean that in their head they were like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be evil." They were like, "I can't
Right.
control this anymore. Like, I got to just do it, and whatever happens, happens." And as disgusting as it may be and terrible as it may be, some of these things do happen. You're right, but I don't think anybody's meant to be specifically or goes out to be evil. Their
Mhm.
brains are just wired very differently. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like.
Like
I think to the core. Oh, no, good.
oh okay yeah, I'll say this quickly. Like I think you like a lot of people look at like gangsters or like like whatever you're in.
Mm,
You can look at the hardest gangster. They may like I don't know killed a couple people. They might have been to jail. Blah 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 blah. But at the core, there's someone in there that's hurt. Someone in there
yep.
that's been through life and that hasn't
Needs
had a
guidance.
break, misguided. And you look at him and you're like, dang, I can understand how he got there. I may not agree with what he's doing,
Yeah.
but I can understand how he got there. You know, a lot of people
Yeah.
like to just judge and not think that could have been me. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Sometimes you got
Oh,
to
we're
put
all
that.
one step away. We're
Yeah,
all one
Yeah.
step away.
everyone. Like,
One
Brian,
step away.
Brian, what were you saying?
Yeah. Josh is one there away from me snapping.
Oh,
I was just
okay.
kidding. Nah, but I was gonna say like it was kind of similar to what Josh said, and it's crazy. I swear to God, like I say it all the time. Josh and I, we're two different people, right? Two different personalities. How we express ourselves is completely different. But
Hmm.
I swear to the core, like he and I like are lined up most of the time. Because I was about to say the same thing. I think to the core, we all want the same things, right? We all
Yep.
want security.
Yep.
We all need love, no matter how tough everybody pretends to be. We
Doesn't
all
matter.
need love. Yep. We all need to be stable financially and feel like we're not stressed out and worrying about things. But how we go about getting these things is different. Like
Mm.
some people get money the way that they know that they can get it, which is working, using their strengths, knowing that they've got certain personalities that fit certain jobs. Some people, if they don't have that positive reinforcement and somebody going like, hey man, hey, you're good at this, give this a shot. They might go out and rob somebody. I'm not saying that the behavior is right. It's absolutely wrong. But in their mindset, like you can't judge them according to
Nope.
how you think all the time. Like, and that's something that I struggle with sometimes. I'm like, man, why would you do that? That's stupid. Do this instead. But I forget the term for it, but there's like a psychological term for judging people based on their values versus your own.
Oof.
Like because I may see things a
I've
certain
never
way,
thought
but
about
that
that
doesn't mean
before. That's interesting.
Oh yeah.
That's interesting.
It's especially off topic. And I'm a troll sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So like if someone's making an argument that I think doesn't make sense, but like you can tell that they're just arguing just to argue,
Yeah.
I will flip the switch and I'm like, okay, according to how you think, this is how this, and I'll break them down by
Yep.
their own principles, and that's how you have to like see people is based on what they value as right and wrong and what's positive and what's not. But kind of like you said, we're all like one step away from making the wrong decision, but to the core, I don't think that a lot of people are evil or have evil intentions. It's just that getting those three things that we value the most, we achieve them differently. And like for me, if I got to make money, I know I can get a job. Like I know there's certain things that I do well. different strengths. I know what my weaknesses are. I'll do it that way. Another guy might rob somebody. Another guy might just steal from his grandma or something like that. Which
Messed up.
if I caught you, if I caught you doing it in my house, like you're done. Like I'm definitely gonna play hands on you.
Yeah.
But like,
Not even a question.
yeah. But if no one has taken the time to like invest in them and go like, hey, whatever your name is, like this is what you can do, or like I see you doing this wrong, but here's what I see within you that you can do differently. They're gonna do what they feel is right in their head. Like you gotta see it from other people's perspectives and judge them according to their own principles. Of course, there are like black and white, like, hey,
of course,
we're not killing people no more. Like we don't do that. Like we don't do that. That's socially unacceptable. But you have to sometimes.
Anymore,
Yeah, sometimes you got to step back and like just like, hey man, I get how you see it or how you view it, but like, let's try this. Like.
You know what, B? I resonate with that with so much because I'm the same way as you. I didn't mind trolling. And I didn't mind talking ish, like no matter what. Like I was always the guy on Facebook for hours arguing for fun because I just didn't care.
Yeah.
And what I start to realize is exactly what you said is about they don't hold the same values as I do.
Yeah.
And sometimes debating, I love debating, but it's a waste sometimes. And that's why I adopted this new mindset of always walking in the middle. I mentioned it so much in the podcast, and it's just I don't look at, again, the Kanye situation, just for example, because we talked about it. I'm not like Kanye's wrong or right. There's no wrong or right for me. I'm right in the middle. If you agree with him, cool. I personally think he's an idiot on some of the things he says. I think some of the things he says. Now, if you think he's a genius for what he said, cool. Perfect. We can move past that now. We're done. Your opinion versus mine. Great. Now we're friends. We move forward. But the problem starts to become, and I said this on my podcast too. The problem starts to become, you start to attack me for my views and my opinion on somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's how the internet works. I'll be like, hey, Kanye's an idiot. You're like, you're an idiot. You don't have $1 million. What does this have to do with me? Like, this has to, like, I just gave my opinion about somebody, and you got the nerve to tell me, well, you can't call him an idiot because you don't have $1 billion. Well, neither the fuck do you. So why are you talking to me? Right? Like, so instead of arguing those points now I'm just like, well, I'm in the middle. I think Kanye's an idiot for some of the things he says. I'll keep that to myself. Hey, if you say he's a genius and he's smart, cool. And you agree, cool. If you disagree, cool. Leave me out of it. I don't even care anymore. I don't even want to talk about it anymore, because it becomes stressful. And then, like you said, you tell yourself, their values ain't the same as mine. They think Kanye's a genius and he's right. That's cool. You hold different values, and I hold my own, and you keep it and I keep it. I think we become too opinionated, and that's okay because I love opinions, but not everything has to be, said. Like we said earlier, not everything has to be out in the open. Your opinion does not always have to be heard, and you don't always have to create a debacle because of your thinking. Just say, hey, cool. You think Kanye's a great guy. You think this person's a great person, or you think whatever situation is, you think this song is a top 10 song. My top 10 song's different than yours. I ain't gonna argue about it. I just got my top 10. You got your top 10. That's it. It's almost like the LeBron and Jordan debate. You like LeBron, I like Jordan. Whatever. Just agree to disagree, people, and move on. It doesn't have to become a constant attack. It doesn't have to be a debate. It doesn't have to be an argument. A lot of the times it be little conversations. We just have, again, different morals, different values, and you go about your life the way you do, and I go about my life the way we do. We'll have open conversations. That's it. Keep it peaceful. I'm not a big fan of the toxic conversations anymore.
I think
what's wild is, go ahead.
Okay, I think that I'm sorry. We always try to, talk.
I love that. I love it. It's just free. It's just open conversations. That's how it goes.
But I was gonna say, like, I think people forget all the time, like, you didn't grow up in the same situation that person did. No two people have this. Even like, if you're living in the same house, your brother, your sister, doesn't have the same experience that you do. You're all independent minds and independent thinkers, and one person may feel like, oh, I hate my mom, I hate my dad, something crazy like that. The brother be like, yo, I understand them, I love them, and I feel sorry for the stuff that they went to. And you see that a lot in families. They're like, how can you forgive them for this? And other person's like, how could you not forgive them for it? It creates tension. Like, I was watching this one show. It's called Inside Man. I don't know if you guys watched this on Netflix.
I've heard of it.
I'm about to spoil it.
It sounds familiar though.
I'm about to spoil it. I'm about to spoil it. All of it, like to the end.
Okay.
It's like a seven episode.
Go ahead and put the spoiler alert message.
Spoiler
right
if y'all don't want to hear spoilers for Inside Man, skip to whatever number I'm gonna put here. there's a show, and it's about the serial killer, right? He's a genius. He's on death row, and people come to him with cases. So at the end of the show, he tells someone, he's like, listen, we're all our worst day away from being a killer or a murderer, right? And
That's deep.
and it just
Could you imagine, bro? Think about people that have just snapped.
and it just
on the worst
realized
thing, bro.
that whole
That's
show
crazy.
is about that sentence. It's about
Yeah.
that sentence because the show, how it starts out, there's a priest. The most religious, the most honest man you could think of is a priest, most likely, right? You think of an honest person, you think of like someone living by morals, a priest.
Yeah.
Starts out with a priest, has
Believe
a
that
wife,
one
has a
a lot.
kid.
Right, me too. right. I got you. Though. I got
Booty
you.
boys.
We're on
But yeah, I know what you mean.
we're on the right path.
Religious figure.
Yeah.
We'll just go with
Right,
religious
right,
figure,
right.
not specifically.
But
priest.
someone comes to him with USB. They're like, "Yo, please hold this for me. My mom's searching through my room. I can't have this." He's asking what's on it, and the thing he says is on it is not like a terrible thing. He's like, "Okay, I'll hold it for you, whatever." He holds it for him. He leaves it on his desk. His son accidentally takes the USB to school, and he has a project that day, right? So they present the USB and crap, and the teacher sees what's on the USB. She comes home with the child. He's like, "Listen, your child came with this on the USB," and it was like the most disgusting thing, like the most disgusting thing you could think of. That's what it was. I'm not gonna mention it. I'm not gonna say what.
I got you.
But that's what it was. The kid didn't know. He's like, "I don't understand. Isn't this just normal stuff? I don't understand what you guys are saying." He's like, "I just got to talk to your parents." So he's talking to the parents. He's talking to the priest. The priest is the parent, and she's obviously not buying into the fact that it's not his USB. And the priest knows. He's like, "Yo, this woman's gonna report my child to the police for what's on this USB." Right? So he's not trying to be aggressive or fight her, but he's trying to stop her from leaving. Accidentally pushes her down the stairs in the basement. Shorty's laying lifeless for a couple seconds down the stairs. And he's freaking out. He's like, "What do I do?" He closes the door and locks it. Which a lot of people may judge him for that, but a lot of people would do the same exact thing.
Thing.
A
You
lot
didn't
of
like drop her off at the park or nothing, bro? I'd have been like, dang,
lot
that's
of
crazy.
people-
She got a headache. I'm gonna just take her to the park and give her a pinch or something. Nothing. He just was like, okay, she gonna die.
Good
a
luck.
lot of people would do the same exact thing though. They won't admit it.
Yeah.
He locks the door on her. She wakes up a couple hours later. She's banging on the door. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, "But if I let her out now, she's gonna report me for kidnapping or abusing. This is gonna get even worse." He's like, he comes downstairs. He's like, "Listen, I gotta keep you down here until I can prove that it's not his." Right? So he goes through this whole season. He's like, "Yo, I'm trying to prove this," and he finally wishes a guy that gives him the USB. Right? And the guy, he would not admit his because he sees that he's recording him. He's like,
Right.
"I don't know whose USB that is. It's not mine." He takes the guy to church. He's like, "Who USB is it?" He's like, "It's not mine. It's not mine. It's not mine." The guy ends up offing himself. Writes a note. He's like, "Listen, whatever the priest has, I promise you it's not the priest's. It's someone that he was protecting." He still didn't admit in his final note that it was his. The police come to the priest's house. They're talking to him, and the priest realizes that he didn't admit it. So they're like, why are you hiding this? What's going on? Why is he saying this? And the guy's like, "Well, the guy is a little bit crazy. That's why he's saying this type of stuff." The police leave. He now realizes like there's no like end situation. This guy's gone, and he didn't admit this. He doesn't know what to do. And now the thought of killing this woman is becoming an easier and easier thing.
Prominent.
And the thought in his head is like, listen, he's willing to go to hell if his family can go to heaven. That's what his thought was in his mind. He's like, "I will kill this woman. I'll take the burden if my family's spared. If my son doesn't have to go to prison because of what this woman's gonna say." Right?
Yeah.
So what he does, he goes downstairs. He puts like I think it's like a little campfire thing. It's bringing out carbon monoxide. The lady doesn't realize it at first because she's a little bit delirious. She got beat up, some crap like that.
Something.
No, but
She's got a broken leg,
she did it
but,
herself though. She was banging her head against the stuff to try to pretend like the guy was beating her up to the wife because the wife knows about it too.
Oh yeah.
So he comes upstairs, locks the
Wait,
door.
the wife knows that the lady's downstairs?
Yeah.
Bruh.
He locks the door.
You notice how I just went with that? Like it was no big deal. I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds like a great.
Yeah.
No, that's terrible actually. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nose like.
But he locks the door, tapes up the door and everything. The problem is the son has been noticing that the parents have been acting strange. He's like, "Why is my teacher's purse still here? He's like, where has she been at? She hasn't been to the house, blah, 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 blah. And then he's in the basement when the priest is talking to her. When the priest goes upstairs to go tape the door and lock the door, he turns down loud music, and the son comes out from the basement and starts talking to his teacher. He's like, what's going on? The teacher explains everything. He's like, that's not true. My dad's a priest. He can't be doing that. That's not true. There's no way. He tries to bang on the door. He's banging, banging, banging. Dad can't hear him. Because the music.
Oh, no.
The kid from the carbon monoxide is getting so delirious and so crazy. The woman, she realizes that the carbon monoxide is coming from the lamp thing that they have downstairs. There's like a hammer on the floor. She throws it, tries to hit the lamp. She accidentally hits the kid's leg. Now she accidentally hits the kid's leg. And the kid's like, why'd you just hit me? He's freaking out. He has the hammer in his hand. And cause his brain's like messed up because of the drugs and everything, he kills her. And he doesn't even realize, but he kills her. It's the craziest.
This sounds like my kind of show. What's it called?
It's called Inside Man. He's like,
it's on Netflix.
Hey, babe, you gotta watch the show. It's called Inside Man. You ever heard that show? Yeah, Inside Man. It's right up my wife's alley. I'm about to go watch that.
Oh,
That sounds crazy.
He said that's her. That's her.
He just ruined the whole entire story, but it sounds like a great story. You gotta watch it.
But
I won't say nothing. You can watch it.
He kills him, right? And then the son calls, I think he calls the dad, right? He tells the dad, oh, I'm at my friend's house right now, because he's still talking to the teacher. The teacher's like, do not tell him what's happening. He's going to come down there and kill me. He tries to call the mom or something like that, and the mom's at the teacher's house trying to clear up stuff, trying to put the laptop back at the house and like cover up the crime.
Right.
Right? And she realizes, oh my gosh, our son is in the basement. Because the son calls her. He's like, why are you guys doing these things to the teacher? And she knows what her husband's doing. She's like, oh my gosh, our son's down there. And she's trying to call her husband, but her husband's so messed up, he doesn't want to pick up the phone call. He's like, I don't want to talk to anybody right now. But her son's about to die in the basement with the teacher, and she's freaking out. So she runs in the middle of the road. She gets hit by a bus.
Oh, this show sounds ridiculous. It's like a lot of twists and turns. Okay.
She dies.
Oh my.
And then it's just the priest left. I think what's crazy is the teacher's still alive. After getting hit by the hammer, she didn't die. She's still alive. And she had a friend that came and like it was a whole detective thing with the serial killer helped out and like finding her. They found her in time. She stayed alive. And it's just the priest. The priest is arrested. And the priest's like, I don't know how I got to this point. And that's when the guy says, like, listen, everybody is the worst day away from being a murderer.
I'm about to say that.
And the priest
you
is
said
like,
that in the beginning, and I forgot about it already. Like,
and the priest is like, what do you mean? I didn't kill anybody. He's like, your wife? You know, your wife is the one that ran in front of the truck because of what's happening at your house.
Yeah.
You may have not touched anybody, but these people died because of you.
Yeah.
You know, and it's crazy because just think about that. Although the show is absurd, I'm not gonna lie, it's absurd.
It's crazier. Yeah.
But
sounds like a series of unfortunate events.
Right.
Literally.
But you think about it, you're like, dang, that was the worst possible day for that person. Literally, every worst thing that could have happened. And you just gotta hope that you're lucky enough that the worst things in a day don't happen to you, because you could be in the same exact situation. That happens so many times to different people. That's just a life lesson you gotta apply to yourself. You know.
Mm-hmm. I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's a good message. And again, like always, you in the moment you're never gonna know what the quote unquote right choice is. But again, going back to what we said earlier, as long as you're yourself, you make that choice depending on your morals and where you stand, and you try your best. But like you said as well, and we said earlier, you always one step away from the wrong move. You can easily make that choice, and it could be the wrong move, and you can really set off a chain of events. And that's a very real thing. Although it's a show, these type of things, weird occurrences, happen every damn day in there almost. I mean, not to that extent, but there are some things that happen where you're like, oof, how? You know, it's the great power. Yep, it will.
Yeah. But I do want to enter more towards closing, because we are coming upon 2 hours now. We've been talking for a minute.
These things keep happening.
Yeah.
All the podcasts keep getting longer and longer.
Right.
But I do want to ask you, relating to like the whole like grind and everything, at what point in your career can you say to yourself, yo, not that you made it, but you say to yourself, I can stop grinding and I can let the business move by itself? At what point in your career do you think you could say that to yourself?
It's a great question. Yeah, you've had a lot of loaded questions, and I like that because I like to think. I'm a thinker. I'm a
Yeah,
very
that
critical
movie.
thinker, and I would say I don't think that day will ever come for me.
Okay.
I'm
Bingo.
a natural. I'm a natural worker, and I would say, and I'm not talking strictly S2W and esports because I could probably
Yeah.
hang that up at some point. But I have too many. I want to be one of the greatest people to ever exist. If I'm being honest with you, like, and the greatest people who ever exist, don't just stick to one thing. They do a lot of different things. I'm saying we. You see, I already feel successful.
Yeah.
I got myself already,
Hey, you
but
gotta put
hey,
yourself in that group sometimes. You know
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. But I'm gonna take the confident route, not the cocky route today. They have their hands in a lot of different things, a lot of different investments is what I'm into. So I can only speak on what I'm into. I would like to have a lot of different investments. I would like to have a lot of different businesses that I help run. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to make sure, again, my community is straight. The people that are coming after me are in better positions. I know in Harrisburg, I'm from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, um,
Yeah.
about an hour away from Philly. We are
Yeah.
the capital of Pennsylvania. I stand on that proud because I feel like a lot of times Philadelphia and Pittsburgh get mentioned a lot, but Harrisburg is a beautiful city. There's a lot of crime. But outside of the inner city of Harrisburg, which is like that everywhere, it's a very beautiful city. We have a lot to offer. And that's one thing that I stand on is my community. And I want to make sure that we can push that forward. So I don't think my job will ever be done because in inner city communities, your job is never done. It just is what it is. Like you're always going to have the next generation of people that you have to teach and put them in better positions than they were yesterday. And I feel like that is a part of me and that is a part of my value and my goals as a part of who I am. So I would never stop working for the community. I would never stop working for my own money and my own family. Like I
Yeah.
love money just as much as the next person. It's not the first thing, but yeah, I would love to build wealth in many different ways in many different communities and have my hand in as many different projects as possible if it makes sense. I want to be
Yeah.
an actor. I want to be a voice actor. I want to hop in game acting. I want to try all these different things. Esports is just the very first step for me.
Yeah.
Working is just a part of my DNA. My parents work hard. Everybody around me works hard. I have thousands of ideas that I really want to work hard on. So yeah, I don't think I will ever stop and just let it coast. I've had that mindset. Again, we go through months, sometimes, months or two where you're like just going through the motions, especially now because it's Christmas and Thanksgiving. It's hard to keep
Yeah.
up with business and everything. But outside of those 1 or 2 months where you're taking a little break, you're still working, but you're not working as hard as you were the first like 10 months. I do take little breaks here and there just to make sure I stay fresh. But I'm never like truly coasting. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Outside of them 1 or 2 months where I'm focusing on family more and really putting, emphasis on that. That's the only time my business, quote unquote, takes a hit. And even then we're still working pretty hard. It's just holidays. I know it could be difficult with people losing people and loved ones. So I'm a little bit more lenient around this time. But I don't think I'll ever stop working hard, bro. Honestly, unless I'm down and I'm really bad and life kicks me, and because life can do that. But even
Yeah.
then, I'm always gonna fight back. Every time I get knocked down, I done fought back. At the very beginning of this conversation, we talked about my parents being locked up. I could have easily became a statistic. I could have easily just fell victim to everything and just played the victim role and live off the
Yeah.
whatever the government, whatever you think is the rock bottom. That's what most people think. Um, I could have took that route. I could have been a drug dealer. I was cool with all the drug dealers. Oh, I got my hand. Like I think people don't realize that is like when you come from the streets, almost you always have a little hand in there. Like I'm not doing anything in the streets, but I know people who do it, and I stay far away from them. But I still hold them kind of dear to my heart because the people who I grew
Yeah.
up with, the people who I respect. And
Yeah.
even
They're
though
still
we can't
humans.
grind together, yeah, even though we can't grind together because you have a very different type of grind,
Yeah.
I grew up with you and I respect you, and I
Right.
hope that we can make because a lot of them still reach out to me and be like, "Yo, my kid's doing this game and stuff," and I'm like, "Send them to me," because even though they're grown men, they're still stuck in that same space in that same hood in that same
Yeah.
community, and that doesn't make them bad people or wrong. They're just stuck, and even though I can try to guide them, they got to seek that from me.
Yeah.
And most of them don't do that. They want their kids to seek that from me, and they just much rather teach. So again, I feel like I owe a debt to my community. I've always had mad support from Harrisburg. I've always just had love and respect. So I got to give that back. My work will never be done. I'm going to be working until the day I die. I feel like, unfortunately, I'm going to say unfortunately, 'cause at some point, everybody wants a break. but I just never see my job being done, bro. Never. I can't lie.
Sure.
Yeah, honestly, before one last thing.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah,
I give loaded answers, so you gotta
yeah,
piggyback
yeah.
sometimes.
I love that answer because I've thought about it before. Like you said before, like how I want to be a millionaire by 25, even though it's probably not realistic, obviously, right? But like,
Yeah.
if you're thinking about, I was thinking about, I was like, yo, if you are a millionaire, like if you got a lot of money when you're 20, 21, 22, what are you gonna do? Like you reached your goal and you reached it so early in your life where you have so much time and you're not doing anything. And that's why you need to do this
Well,
stuff
the
with
worst time for it to
passion.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you need to do this stuff with passion. Because if you're doing it for money and you do get the money, you do get the stuff that you want, afterwards it's gonna be like, why am I doing this? Who cares? I got the money. But you're just gonna be sitting around doing nothing all day.
And to piggyback off of that, even if you do hit all of your goals, right? I think a lot of times we're misguided because we work hard for our goals all the time, but you never ask yourself, and nobody ever tells you. I want to make sure I do take, I like to make sure the onus is on myself as well. We don't look at it, and people don't tell us what comes after.
Yeah.
After you meet all of your goals and all of your expectations, what do you do after?
Yeah.
What comes? For me, I have a plan after. Again, the acting and things, I already have a plan. Most people don't, though, because you don't think about the after. In your head, your passion is leading you to this this ultimate goal. And once you reach that ultimate goal, some of us never do. Hopefully you do. Once you reach it, what's next? What do you have planned next for the second part of your life or whatever part of your life that you're at? Like what comes after? And
Yeah.
most people then become bored. They become depressed. And that's where you see a lot of these Hollywood issues because they've reached the pinnacle. Imagine being Will Smith. You're like, bro, I done did everything. Imagine being whoever you look up to, Beyonce, Jay, anybody you think of, they reached it. They done it all, dang near in their head. What's next? And like, there is a point where that happens. You got to be prepared for that. Don't just say, gaming is it. And that's why, no, there is extra and there is more. And life will show you that there's so many more things that you're capable of. And this one thing, this one passion is going to turn into so many more. And you got to make sure you ride that wave. Do not just say, hey, I reached all my goals. I'm done in life. You're going to be bored. You're going to get down on yourself. Like, imagine being at home all day. We were just there with COVID. You were home all day for months, some of us. Months, years. Some of us haven't gone back yet. A lot of us are down in the dumps. A lot of us are down in the dumps. And you're like, man, like, how do I get out of this funk? You got to get out and explore and do fresh things. You got to, this game of life, we just go through life every single day and you live the same thing every day. You live the same life every day.
And like,
get out, go explore.
I think people don't realize, like, when you reach your goal becomes another goal. Like, that's what they don't realize. Like, if you get to a goal, you get that satisfaction, but you're like, dang, I got here.
What's next?
Let me try to go here. People ask people all the time, like, yo, why do you keep trying to get bigger and bigger? You got 1,000 subscribers. You got 100,000 subscribers. You got 1,000,000 subscribers. And you may be the top person in your field. Why do you keep trying to get bigger and bigger? I think a big part of the reason is boredom. You don't want to be bored. You're like, dang, you know what? I got it here. Let me try to get it here. I made this company big in New Jersey or North Carolina. Let's try to get it big nationwide. And then once you conquer nationwide, let's try to get it big worldwide. And once you conquer worldwide, let's try to be the #1 company worldwide. And it never stops,
Yep.
And that's what cures the boredom for a lot of these like successful people.
Yep.
That's why they don't stop working when they're 50, 60 years old. You're looking at them like, oh, I feel bad. Like, why are they still working? They're 50, they're 60. They want to. They don't. They do not want to just sit at home listening to their wife and kids all day. Not saying that's a bad thing, but
Yeah,
right.
they don't want to sit. Yeah, they need to have that time to just work on something and see it grow.
Yeah.
That's, I think, for me, I love. And I think a lot of people love the best thing to see is seeing something grow from nothing, seeing something just keep progressing and knowing that you had a hand in making that thing move,
And you know what? I'm gonna say this, and this will be my closing statement. Because we talk so much about passion and following your love, there is an opposite side to this, and I'd much rather be real. Because, like we said about us being real, all because you love something does not mean that is your purpose in life either.
Right.
So I need everybody to understand that. Like, I don't think my purpose in life is to be a competitive esports gamer. Not it.
Right. No, man.
My purpose in life is to teach. My purpose is in life is to carry over to the next generation. I know those things, and I know that, and I believe in it so much that no matter what I do in life, if I destroyed my business tomorrow and gave up on it and said, "Hey, I'm done with it," I'm gonna continue doing the same exact things in different ways in different businesses. Don't get hung
Yeah.
up in your business. It's your purpose. And it's not what you love all the time. Your love doesn't always get you where you need in life. It's
Mm-hmm.
your calling. It's about what, and again, you mentioned religion earlier, Josh. I'm not a huge religion person. I do believe in a higher power, whatever that is. I believe in karma. I believe in our energy just being good. And if we're good people, good what happens to us. And whoever that is above me, watching over me, he's been making it happen. He or she or it has been making it happen. But
Hey, I'm
sometimes,
just
yeah,
playing.
right? Yeah. But
Cut that out, Josh.
look up look up to that person sometimes, whatever you think it is, and don't be afraid to seek help outside of yourself. Sometimes you need
Yeah.
answers, and look at the universe to guide you in the right direction. Again, that's why I believe in energy. My energy gets guided to people. Again, 2 hours in, I keep looking at the time, 2 hours in, 2 hours of meeting you guys, and our energies match. I was gravitated towards you guys. It was meant that you followed me and I followed you back. And like, these things are not coincidences all the time. I believe in whatever higher power it is you believe in. They put us in positions to work, and it's up to you to take those angles and take those positions and be great with them. And be a good person. Be a good person. You can work hard, but if you're not a good person, you're not gonna have a good time in life. Really look to
Right.
help people and be a good person, and stick to your passions and continue doing what you're doing. Because I know a lot of people are doing good, and your ideas are valuable to society. Make sure you keep pushing whatever you're doing, and make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. And that's all I have to say for the rest of the podcast. Y'all
Yes,
can
sir.
carry it all.
I was gonna say, yeah, I 100% agree. This will be my closing statement about it. I saw some TikTok. There was this guy, this old guy, very old, looks like a very fun, nice guy. He was telling some kid, some not kid, but like kid to him, 20 years old. He's like 70.
Right.
He's like, yo, do you want to know what the secret to life is? It's like, yeah, what's the secret to life? He's like, be kind to everyone. That's the
Mm-hmm.
secret to life. Be kind to everyone. And like the
Mm-hmm.
more you think about it, the more it makes sense. And the more it makes sense, the more you can implement it in your life. Some people have never had a person actually be kind for them. Some people have never had a person do something for them, not expecting anything in return. You know,
Yep.
that kindness can change somebody's life. And once you see that change somebody's life, you want it to keep happening. So, I think we're gonna enter closing. You can drop your. Oh, 1 second. Thank you.
That you're-
Nah, that was my mom.
Oh, okay. No, never mind. I'll leave it alone. I'm gonna stop
We're
trying.
having an inspirational moment here, and this man.
You gotta brighten up the mood a lot.
I've never
man.
seen
You
Josh's
gotta-
dad
yeah.
before. I've never seen Josh's mom either, but like I feel like it just don't matter as much. But like,
Right.
yeah, I'm trying to see what Josh's dad look like.
I got
'Cause he
you.
always talks about his dad. We've never seen him.
I got some.
I've
wings
never
too.
heard him. Apparently,
Got some wings up in there. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I look good. Okay. Making me
What's
hungry
up?
now. It's 2 o'clock too. It's about eating time. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah. But nah, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was gonna say we can after closing. Jay, can you drop your plugs? Drop whatever you want to drop.
Of course. So it's your boy JD. It's been a pleasure working with you guys. I would love to come back on the podcast again and have more open-ended conversations. I appreciate you guys for having me on. B and Josh, I really, really appreciate it. It was fun. But if you want to follow me, my name is JD. You can follow me on Twitter at JD_717. I use Twitter the most. You can follow my organization or family. Again, I don't like calling us an organization, but the proper term is esports organization. We are S2W Gaming. That is also on Twitter. Twitter is where we do most of our damage. So I would say follow me on Twitter. If you like Instagram, you can follow me. I don't use it often, but it is JD Gaming _. And JD is spelled JAYDEE. It is not just J and a D. So JAYDEE _717 is my Twitter. That's where I use the most. I recommend following me there if you want to keep up with me the most.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Drop a comment who you want
Yes,
to see
sir.
next. Drop a comment about your favorite part in this podcast. And drop a like, drop a sub. And
That's
we will
up. That's
see
right.
you guys next time.
Peace out.
Later, y'all.
Deuces.